Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Saturday Night Betalong. How's everybody getting on this week?
Yeah, good, Albie. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Good. Looking forward to tonight's action. A lot of big games on this evening. A few of them have pretty much just kicked off, or even kicked off a few minutes ago. So I might just pass over to you, Slash. You want to give the viewers a quick rundown on the bets that we've got in store tonight?
Yeah, sure. So we have our usual Betalong treble. This actually, it's been up on the website, the SportsRundown.com website. We usually post it either Thursday or Friday evening or Saturday morning. So it's been up since this morning, and the first leg of the treble has already come in. And that was Gary's shout for St. Pat's versus Shamrock in Premier Division. The stats look, brilliant for two sides. Unbeaten in the league, had scored in every game in the league. We're duking it out at Dublin. So, it looked very likely for goals at both ends. And I think it finished it was 1-1 anyway after 60 minutes. And I think, Gary, you said there was a corner there as well, was there? So
yeah, 92nd minute winner to make it 2-1, but got the money landed with both teams to score anyway.
Yeah, like 21-20 looked really good for that. It came in handy enough. So we're off the mark. Hopefully, anyone watching, did see the article on the website and got on that. And if not, there's still two other games that have kicked off just 7:45. So the first of those was the Fiorentina Lazio game. And this was LB's shout, and it was both teams to score, but also Lazio. Again, the stats look great for this one. Fiorentina's last 5 games have had 20 goals. Lazio's last 5 games have had 26. So that's averaging 4 goals per game, 5 goals per game. If you even look more recently, Fiorentina's last 4 have each had 7 or more goals. So it's just, there's no reason to think it's continuing into tonight's game. Lazio are definitely the better team. They've won 7 of their last. Fiorentina have won 2 of their last 8 home games. So, we're pretty confident Lazio are going to get the win. But given Fiorentina, they're not brilliant at home, but they've scored in 15 of their 18 home league games. So we fancy them to get the score sheet, but also ramp in and win that comfortably. So 12-5 looks like crazy for Lazio to win and both teams to score. And then the third of the treble was my pick, the Anderlecht v Antwerp, the Belgian First Division A. That's into the championship round, so it's the top 4. Playoff games. In a playoff there, so that's going to win. Yeah, I've just gone for both teams in this game as well. Antwerp's last 4 games have each had 5 goals, with both teams scoring in each of those. And Anderlecht, they don't have as many goals, but their last 5 home games had both teams scoring as well. And they played last month. Anderlecht won that 4-1, so kind of expected to be a bit closer, but definitely expected both teams to get in the score sheet. So it was 10-11 there for both teams to score. I haven't seen how either of those games started. They're 20 minutes in yet. I don't know if you've seen them, lads.
I know the Lazio game is still 0-0. I haven't been keeping an eye on it, but I might actually flick in and watch it now.
I'll have a look here at how that Belgian game is going. In some ways, I'm kind of hoping that they're both still 0-0, so anybody watching can get on. Yeah, the Anderlecht one is 0-0 as well. So, if you're just getting on the double right now, you'd be getting better odds. Odds that were available on that treble, but if you're just doing the double, you'll get a bit of a bump because both of those are still 0-0 20 minutes in.
It's always kind of which way you call it. The goals don't come in like better value, but then some point then you start thinking, right, it's actually not going to be the goal in this match that I was hoping for or expected.
That Lazio game, it looks like there's already been plenty of chances anyway, 20 minutes in. Chances for both sides. Fiorentina actually have more of the shots, and they have a corner here at the moment. So I don't know, is that good? We always talk about if you have a team to win and both teams to score, and then the team you have to win goes down 1-0, you're kind of like, well, that's the both.
Yeah, I'd be that way inclined. Like if we saw it earlier on, there was a big match in France, and it gets 2-0, 3-0. The both teams to score part starts to feel. So teams aren't going to chase the game at 3-0 necessarily. So you kind of want the underdogs or the team who fancies to win to go down, and then maybe it feels a little bit more like the other those scenarios.
Like that Hoffenheim game earlier, they were 1-4 to win, and they were down 2-0 at half time, but came back 3-2. I think it finished 3-2, but same sort of thing. Oh, it finished 4-2 actually. And yeah, geez, they were down 2-0 at home to Schalke half time and won 4-2. So it's that sort of thing. Like you want the underdog to take the early lead if you can. It is generally a good thing.
Yeah. And then looking at the MLS tonight, the big game we'll be covering here is the Dallas against Houston match. So that's obviously kind of a local, or at least a Texan derby. There should be an interesting game. I'm expecting some goals myself, but it'll be the head-to-head between Gary, who was finally dethroned last week, against Lazio, who's head of the group. Well, he's the wildest. He beat me the last time, which is actually, I was going to make a joke there, but I better not, because he's beaten me comfortably. Any fancies in the game tonight, lads? Before we won't dive into the head-to-head picks just yet, but there's any thoughts on the game or anything you're looking forward to?
I'm hoping that it'll be that it's going to be both teams scoring, both teams going at it, kind of an open game. It is a bit of a derby, the two of the Texas teams there, but the likelihood is goals, but we've seen a few of these. Like every game I look at in the MLS, I think is going to be both teams scoring, and then a few of the ones we've tracked on the Saturday night show or that we've included in our Saturday night bets hasn't kind of come to fruition. I know last week's just about a 3-minute period where both sides scored, and that was it for the whole game. So I'm hoping for something a bit more lively, maybe an early goal to get things going.
Yeah, that way. So myself and Gary, on a different note, you were looking at some corners. I'm not sure if you fancied them in this match, the head-to-head game, or just in general. You're looking at some corners this evening.
Yeah, so obviously we're doing our kind of roll and bet. So the pressure come on me to pick that this week. I've gone with corners. So I've kind of been analysing the corner markets, and I think that the lower end of the markets in ACA is actually fairly decently priced. So I've gone with 4 games, over 6 in the 2 Spanish games, so over 6 corners. So we need 7 corners at a minimum. So that's Athletic Bilbao, Osasuna, Malaga, Mallorca. And then over 7 in the Canada derby with Vancouver and Montreal, which has just kicked off about 2 minutes ago. And then over 8 corners in the game that we're watching. So looking for the corners to come in, that pays probably about 6-4-ish or just over 6-4. So yeah, looking forward to cheering that one home, and hopefully the earlier games. So the Spanish games are about 10 minutes in, the Vancouver Montreal games about 3 minutes in. Hoping that they can get a few early corners. So it rolls it all onto our game that we'll be watching.
We've seen it on the stream a few times recently where, and we've talked about it in different contexts where the ball, goes out for a corner, the corner is swung in and it goes straight back out for another corner. You get 2 or 3 of those in the game and your bet could come in, with plenty of time left, Gary. So there's something very nice about those bets that don't really require the full match. It'd be over by half time, but we saw it with the Arsenal match the other week. I think there was 7 or 8 corners in the first half. So any of the viewers who are watching the show, you'll see that's the bet up on screen there. So obviously the markets Gary's run through, it's pretty self-explanatory which ones are which, but looking forward to watching those ones roll in as the games continue on.
We had in the MLS last week, was it like 13 corners in the first half or something like that?
There was a lot. I'm not too sure whether it was 13 or not, but I know there was a lot. So. And
then I think the second half might have had 1 or something. Absolute opposite, anyway.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You need to get off to a good start in them. And it is it's somewhat of a lottery, but in the 2 MLS games, I think they're going to be 2 attacking games. And usually with attacking games, you're having shots on goal that keeper can parry, or you've got wingers going down the wing or the left or right wing and trying to get crosses in. So I've looked at the games. I think the Spanish ones are actually, even though we only need over 6 corners in those, they're probably the dodgy ones. But even at that, the games have opened up really, really lively. So it's 11 minutes in, it's 1-1 in Athletic Bilbao, Osasuna, and it's 1-0 in Malaga, Mallorca. So if they stay open like that from a scoring perspective, I think you'd expect the corner count to rise as well.
We've talked about this before about which markets seem to be just derivatives of other markets. Like shots are definitely seem to be very highly based on scoring goals. I wonder, are corners done just of their own? Like, is there any analysis into which teams have the more corners, or is it kind of based on how they expect the game to pan out? Dominance leads to shots, leads to corners, type of thing. Because you do tend to see it. When the games get a bit feisty and the shots are thrown in, you can get close to corners. A couple of them in a few short minutes, and then you can go 25 minutes and there's not a sniff of one again. So, kind of curious how that will. If you're kind of monitoring this market over the next 2 weeks, Gary leads to any insight there, because it's actually quite interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on it now. I said it's one that I've been looking at a lot. There obviously are games where there's not that many corners. So it's kind of like when you're putting on a goal, like an over 1.5 or over 2.5 goals in a game. There's always you look at a league like SerieA where it's a goal fest most weeks, but that there's going to be one game that's a snore fest. So you need to just be a little bit lucky and avoid that game that turns into a pretty drab affair. But I said I've looked at these games. I think it's a fairly solid bet, and it'll get us a long way on the road to our total. So we're looking to build a 50 up to $1,000 if we can get it over the next couple of weeks. So the 141 that this will return, that'll give us some money to play with, either for the rest of the night or throughout the coming weeks.
Yeah, hopefully they come in early and we get the entertainment. So reload tonight. Sorry, Garrett, you're going to say something there.
Oh, I was just going to say, like Gary was saying, either tonight or over the coming weeks. Like, I suppose it's just a case, if we see something that stands out, with a bit of value on it, we can always go at it late in the night. Or I think with this sort of a strategy, certainly no rush, on getting to the target. Better to take your time, but sure, if we see something, we might as well.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's very much so we don't want to be trigger happy with it. This is a little bit adventurous for what we wanted to do, but I said I couldn't. I put them all in because I couldn't choose. I probably should have did a double, but I couldn't choose which two to drop, and you'd always be regretting it. So I said we'll go adventurous for this week, and then we can taper off if we need to.
Yeah, I think any of those kind of roll and active type bets, if you want to take risks and accumulate odds, so it's the early rounds where you should do that. You put the bet on at this stage. If it doesn't work out, we get say 3 to 4. It's not so bad. It'll feel like a bit of a slippery slope if you start putting on your 4 or 5 team actors with the last couple of legs. So I'd agree with the approach here.
Yeah, so just like I can see that there's been a corner in each of the games so far. So 15 minutes in, and we've ticked that off, which is all right. It's always the first corner to get under your belt. I find sometimes you can be struggling. The game might be kind of a little tactical in the first half an hour, and you end up getting there with no corners, and you're very worried about the bet. So the fact that we got one in each game early, I said it's still a long way to go, but it gives that bit of a boost.
Yeah, absolutely. And we seem to be without flat for a moment here, so I was going to dive into the head-to-head selections, but maybe we'll just put that on ice for a moment. Oh, actually, speaking of the devil, and he's back with us.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm back.
So you're obviously ducking away there to have a quick review of your old almanac for the Houston Dallas games coming up here. So for anyone who's not used to the show, anyone new visitors or anyone who hasn't kind of caught on to what we're doing over the last few weeks, you can see up on the screen there, there's the match that's on, and we're looking at the various markets that are in that game, and we're going to run through them. They're all more or less even money, or any ones that aren't even money are close enough to kind of able to have a preference on them. So it's the FC Dallas versus Houston game. It's on we're scheduled to kick off in about 15 minutes, but in reality, it'll be a little while after that. The guys will toss a coin. We'll run through it then head to head. So, whether we throw in the first minute, yes or no. We'll go a kick in the first 4 or a corner in the first 6 minutes. They're pretty self-explanatory, and it just adds a bit of interest to the early moments of the game. Then the next two markets is the race to 3 corners or the race to 3 shots. So either team there, you pick one of those. And then the rest of the markets are kind of end of game or second half. So will there be a corner in the first 5 minutes of the second half or a shot in the 5 minutes following that? So they've been kind of crucial markets the last couple of weeks. Whoever's won those has gone on to win the overall head-to-head. And then the rest of the markets there are end of game. So the total corners be over 10.5, total goals of 2.5, with both teams score in either half. So both teams score in the first half or both teams score in the second half. If one team fails to score in either of those, you could be fine if the other half comes your way, but it's a little bit of insurance there with both halves. You can pick the half that has more goals, or you can pick the game result. So that's the markets that are available. There's 12 there, guys. So obviously the last person can just leave one out, just give you a little bit of flexibility. So Gary, you were in last week. His class was out, so maybe Slash, you get to pick your heads or tails just to give you a little bit of chance. You might even actually need that bit of luck if you're gonna
maybe I can win something.
Yeah. So whenever you're ready, pick
I'll go heads.
Go heads. Not your tails never fail approach from previous weeks. So we've got that there, and it is unfortunately not heads slats, so it's tails. So Gary gets his first pick, and then slats get the second and third, and then just to even up that one. So whenever you're ready, Gary.
I think I might go for a goal kick in the first 4 minutes, please.
Some pattern developed on the first few of these. Probably guess mine too. I'm going to go yes for a throw in the first minute and yes for an early corner as well.
Okay. I feel that. I know last week the throw came almost immediately, but the goal kick in 4 minutes feels like it should be about 1 to 50. It just seems inevitable, but we'll play it by ear. Gary, back to you now. You got 2 more. So the race to corners and then all the second half and end of game markets.
I am going to take a corner between 45 and 50 and a shot between 50 and 55, please.
So, all in on an exciting start to the second half for guys. Smash, back to you.
Yeah, I think I'll go both teams to score either half. Yes. I'll go the half with more goals the second half.
Okay, so that's the second. So for anyone who's not watching the show, Gary gets first or tie with that half. So if it's equal to 2, Gary gets that. Back to you guys.
I'm going to take Houston in both of the race to corners and race to shot markets.
Well, there we go. That's the first strong opinion on the game now for the night. You fancy Houston, Gary, in this one?
I do. I think we watched them last week, and I was actually fairly impressed with them. I actually think they're a good price to win the game as well. So, going all in on Houston.
Very well. And then slats, to wrap it up, you can have over 10.5 corners, over 2.5 goals, or the game result. Bear in mind, if you pick a team there, Gary gets the draw with his, and you only take 2 of those 3 remaining markets.
Yeah, I think I'm going to avoid the game result because I don't have any fancy on either side. I'll go for over 2.5 goals, and I think I'll just go for the over 10.5 corners. I don't have any strong feelings on it either way, but I prefer to be chasing it happen rather than, seeing corners coming in and hoping that they dry up. I prefer being over rather than under on that market anyway.
The way you hesitated, I thought for a second you were going to go under 10.5. I thought that is a bizarre approach. Just by the way, I'm not sure if you were actually aware of it or some of the slats, but you were talking earlier about the away team scoring, but Fiorentina actually gone 1-1 up against Lazio here.
I just saw that a minute ago, yeah.
Yeah, so it came across the ticker there. So that's actually great news for the bet because, like we said, they needed to score 2 anyway, Lazio, so for that bet to come good. So pretty happy with this one. Lazio have a tendency to be very, very gung-ho, as we've seen over the last couple of seasons. So there's no chance that they're going to sit back on that. Fiorentina, as we know, concede like a sieve. So yeah, I think that's a perfect start to that bet and that game. Actually, very, very entertaining match here. So
yeah, I'm not watching the Anderlecht game, but it looks the opposite. It looks like there's not a whole lot going on there. It's still nil all for half time. So not too pleased with that so far.
It's okay, if you
go before half time.
Yeah, last weekend we were looking at the Anderlecht Club Bruges game. Standard today against Ghent. There was a lot of the Belgian matches seemed to blow up and kind of storm into life. Yeah, not even in the second half, like late in the second half. So I have no real worries about that one. If it's still in it, 65 minutes, then I'll be getting to consider it a loss. But even 1-0 on 70 minutes, I'm very confident there. So happy with that one. Right, so we've gone through the markets here. So Gary, you're saying you kind of fancy Houston this evening.
I was impressed with them last week. I think they're around 3-1. At least they were on when I checked. Let me just check now. 5-2 at the minute. I think that's a decent bet. So they played fairly well last week. I don't think there's much between the teams. So yeah, like I did an ACO up as well. I was going to put them in that, but I went safe over 2.5 goals. But I kind of regret not putting them in there now, to be honest.
Yeah, you got me convinced. I mean, Lazio now, who I really fancy for tonight anyway, are now 13-5. I think I'm going to do a quick double there with Lazio and Houston to kind of round that out. They're both well priced, and your confidence is rubbing off on at least on the Houston match.
His confidence is creating FOMO.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly it. Yeah, got to jump on that. And there's a lot of racing on this evening, Gary. You probably haven't had a huge chance to look into it in any great detail, but does anything stand out for you there, or any of the particular events you want us to focus in on when the time comes?
Yeah, so there's a couple of races at Belmont Park. So there's actually a really good card at Belmont Park. So I'll shout out a few throughout the night. The one that we won't be online for and we won't be able to say is the Man of War Stakes. And I'd be interested to see how Sovereign gets on in that. It's ex-Aidan O'Brien horse being sent across to it's sent across to America to be trained by Chad Brown now. So yeah, interested to see how it gets on tonight in the Man of War Stakes. But as I said, I have a couple in the kind of precursor races, but I just don't have it up on screen at the moment. So I'll get it up and give a shout out.
Yeah. So cool. Let us know when the time comes. We don't want to miss those. Let us know when the time comes. We'll let them up and we'll talk through. It was actually quite exciting last week when we had the Kentucky Derby on. There was plenty of races before that as well. So yeah, let us know when the time comes. Has anyone got kind of a feel yet for when this game is going to kick off? How late they actually tend to go live, or is it just sort of 15 minutes is the rough rule of thumb?
You seem to think it was something to do with how it clashed with other games, that if there was another game heading toward halftime, they hold on until it gets to halftime before kicking off the next game.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, that they don't want too many games on at the same time. So I know the Vancouver match is on at the moment. I'll just double check and see if there are any other games on here as well. But yeah, I thought that was it.
So Columbus Crew are beating DC United 3-1, and it's into injury time. So that'll be wrapping up in a minute. And then Nashville are playing New England, and it's just gone into the 90th minute. So like those two, will have wrapped up just going into half past, which, going by that theory, it would allow the Dallas Houston game to kick off at half past, or certainly a couple of minutes after. The Vancouver game is only 20 minutes in, so I wouldn't imagine they'll be waiting for that to get to halftime. And it's the only other game on. So maybe it will start a little closer to half past.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on it anyway, just so we can see when they do kick off.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm watching the Liverpool game here, by the way, as well. I'm not sure if either of you have an interest in that or any wagers on it.
I don't have any bets on it, but I do have Mane and my 5 scorers. So looking forward to that and seeing if he can score.
Any reason you went for Mane over Salah? I just looking at Salah, like he scored 5 goals in his last 3 home games against Southampton.
It was more just that I wanted to kind of go somewhat left field. That was
Right,
mainly
yeah.
the reason. So that's why I went with it. So just Liam on the horse racing. So there is a race going to kick off at 8:34 our time based in the UK. That's 3:35 or sorry 3:34 Eastern. So it's a decent little Grade 3 filly stakes. The one I fancy there is La Mista. So it's about 130 at the moment. So just over 3-1. So yeah, I'll keep an eye on that and let you know when the race starts.
Yeah, sounds good, Gary. Been made aware that there might be some audio issues on my side, so if you hear anything like that, just let me know and I'll keep working on it. But hopefully it's
You sound a little low on volume there on my end. I'm not sure if that's what's coming through on screen as well.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. Apologies for anyone who's listening. And what about you, Slats? Did you watch and enjoy the rugby yesterday? There was an easy day at the office, I suppose, for
Yeah,
Munster.
It was a decent win for Munster in the end. Yeah, bonus point win. I mean, I don't know if anybody understands the format of this cup. I certainly don't. But maybe a bonus point helps them at some stage down the road. I think it's a kind of a round robin that will lead into a knockout, but it's kind of anyone's guess. It's the first time they've ever had this cup, and it's it was supposed to be an introduction to the South African teams. Then with COVID, they pulled out. They kind of changed the format of it with COVID as well. So the Irish teams play amongst themselves, the Welsh teams play amongst themselves, and then the Scottish and Italian teams combine to have 4 teams there playing amongst themselves. So either way, beating Leinster and Ulster, if you look at the Pro 14 season, they were the top 2 sides in it, along with Munster. It's pretty good start to however things unfold to have beaten the 2 of those. And just the nature of the win as well. Now Ulster went down to 14 men, and I'm sure they wouldn't, argue a whole lot with the red card. They potentially could have had a second red card, but obviously that probably put a bit more on the scoreline than it would have otherwise. But Munster were pretty much dominant from start to finish. It was one of their best performances I've seen in a while. So yeah, pretty happy with that. Leinster playing Connacht now tonight. I haven't seen how that started, but I would say Connacht would be out for a bit of blood there. Just looking at Leinster, they got beaten last week. Munster beaten the week before. They got knocked out of the Champions Cup last week by La Rochelle. So Connacht might be smelling blood. No, now that I look at the score, it's 33-16 to Leinster at half time. So they're bouncing back nicely.
And those commentators cursed there, lads.
Big time, yeah. I should have checked before I said anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Connacht might have had a bit more of a go, but yeah, Leinster are probably hurting a bit now from the whole line selection and getting knocked out of the Champions Cup. So I guess they're just taking it out on Connacht.
Yeah, that's it. Just Joe, we were talking about corners. That'll be in fact that Joe they can go out quickly. Liverpool have just had, Southampton in the Liverpool match have just had 2 really quick in succession. So fingers crossed a few of ours can get that. So I'll just give a quick update on the bet. So in the Montreal game, there's been 2 corners, 1 for each team. So we need another 6 there in the last kind of 65 minutes. So every 10 minutes a corner, which isn't a bad kind of cadence. In the Bilbao Osasuna game, we have 2 corners there, so we need another 5, and there's an hour to go. So again, a corner every 10 minutes will do us there. And then in the Malaga Mallorca game, there's been 3 corners in the first half hour, so we need 4 there. Again, that's probably every 15 minutes. We need a corner, so they're ticking along at a decent enough.
They feel so achievable the way they're lined up, the way you described them in 10s and 15 minutes. It just seems.
Yeah, it does. Doesn't work out that way usually, but it can seem achievable. And I do think that the Dallas Dynamo game is getting ready to kick off there. I see it's just gone suspended, so I would say that they'll be coming out soon because of the fact it's gone suspended.
Yeah, sounds good. So again, anyone who's new to the show, you'll notice the William Hill banner at the top of the screen. So we're using the William Hill site as the official sort of tracking site for the stats in the game. Obviously, there's certain definitions of shots and things like that are a little bit tricky when you're watching them in play, and sometimes it takes the dust to settle. So if you see something and you think we haven't called it, well, by all means, let us know in the comments. We'll happily talk and argue about it. I'm sure the lads will definitely look for a bit of ammunition to change the score, Slats in particular. So, but yeah, let us know, and we'll be keeping an eye on it here. I'm going to get that up. It's just gone half time now in the Italian game. Still 1-0 Fiorentina. So yeah, I'm expecting a big second half. They require one as well, but I'm expecting a big second half there.
Yeah, it's getting close to evens there, LV, for 2 goals in the second half.
Yeah.
Given Lazio obviously need that to win it, it probably looks a decent bet, does it?
It really does. I'm kind of all over that bet already, to be honest. So I probably won't back 2 more goals in that. I've got Lazio to win. I've got over 2.5 in both teams to score. I've got over 2.5 in general. So it doesn't make sense for me to get involved in it. But anyone watching, or yourselves, lads, I think it's a good even money shout. There's just no way Lazio can sit back on that. So they'll chase it just for the sake of chasing it, and either score or concede. So
for your own bets, that you're obviously heavily in already, are you pretty happy with the scoreline right now?
I mean, I'd be much happier if they'd scored that shot they had at the stroke of half time when they went in 1-1. But I mean, it's better than 0-0, and it's probably better than 1-0 Lazio. Fiorentina have just, when you get into the habit of losing, it becomes a sort of a slippery slope for the players mentally. It's very easy to get in the habit of losing. So if they were 1-0 down, I can't see Fiorentina really pushing for it as much. Lazio, I think, are more inclined to do that. So that's why I'm happy to have the score the way it is. Obviously, I prefer more scores, but that's for a 1-goal game. That's the way I'd like it, Jim.
You wouldn't be cashing out of your bet just for your stake back or anything now? Would you'd be happy to let it roll?
Oh, not even close. No, this was probably the game of the weekend. For me, I'll probably get it wrong now that I've said it, but this was the game of the whole weekend. If I could have had one bet, it would have been on, Lazio to win and both teams to score here. So I wouldn't be cashing out at halftime with the both teams to score part, at least, on track.
Yeah, they're really bigging it up there, LB. So you can guarantee that Fiorentina are going to win and both teams score.
Or just win 1-0 and both teams score is even going to come out wrong. Seems to be
1.9 on the exchange at the moment for over 2.5. So I might hold out for that to get to evens and get on it.
Yeah. Yeah, we seem to be very close here in the game to kicking off. So just gonna get this ready for everybody. Southampton are really more than holding their own in the Premier League game. I'm not sure if you're still watching that, either of you, Gary. Probably.
Yeah, I am. It's been a fairly even start. Southampton had the best of the first kind of 15 minutes, but then I think Liverpool have had a good little spell there. So it's a decent little match. I did say, so anybody who's been reading, SportsRunDown.com, we do up a weekly rundown of all of the Premier League action, and I did say in this that, or in that article, that I thought Southampton could give Liverpool a game, even though, like, when you say that, you feel silly because you look at it and, like, Southampton have been in such bad form this season. In the second half of the season since kind of the new year, but. Like, they actually have that ability to cause problems, especially going forward. Just as I say that, the race is just off there, so I don't know whether you might take it on that horse or not, LB.
I didn't know.
And any of the viewers. So, I'll keep you updated. They're about kind of maybe a quarter of the way through at the minute on my screen. So, he's in fourth at the minute and kind of a perfect position against the rail. So, if he's good enough, he'll win. There'll be no excuses about bad rides or anything like that.
Very good. What distance is the race, by the way? Sorry, you might have mentioned it earlier.
This race is just over a mile, so it's 1 mile, 110 yards. So
flying along, right? Very good. Yeah, keep us posted on that, Gary. Won't be long left, of course.
Yeah, so they're just entering the last kind of half a mile now. He's still in a decent position coming into the home run or home stretch. Needs to get a bit of a move on now. He's moving into third now as we speak. So he's about 3 lengths to make up with about 2 furlongs left. He's probably going to finish second. He's let one of them get first run, although he's closing all the way to the line. Go on. Go on. Go on. God. I think he was the best horse in the race. It's just like he lost out by about half a length, or she lost out by about half a length. When they turned in off the home bend, the front 2 kicked, and when they went, they probably put it at the end. At home bend, he had about 3 lengths to make up, and then when the leaders kicked, he went about 4 or 5 lengths down, and instead all the way to the line. So it was just
too much work to do.
Half length, yeah, giving a little bit. Me saying it wouldn't be a bad ride, and then you could argue that it was a bit of a bad ride, but so got to run for the money anyway, which isn't a bad thing.
Yeah. We're going to have that commentator's course now tonight. Everything we say, Slat said it about Leinster, me and Lazio, and now that race, Gary. I think we're going to have to stop talking about our bets before they go because we're going to be doomed.
Exactly. On a positive note, the corners bet, so the kind of 50 roller, it's taken a turn for the positive. So the last update we gave about 10 minutes ago, there was kind of 2 or 3 corners in each game, but now it's gone to there's 4 in the Montreal game, so we need another 4 and that's in. And there's just 32 minutes gone in that game. So again, plenty of time for those 4 corners. In the Bilbao Osasuna game, there's 4 corners as well. So we need 3 in that in the go to 50 minutes, just over 50 minutes. And similarly, there's been 4 in the Malaga New York game. So again, we need 3 in that in 50 minutes. So again, probably too early to be counting chickens, but positive that we're in that kind of territory anyway. We're not hoping and praying for corners just yet. If they could all get one in the next 5 minutes just before half time, I think we'd be in a really, really good position.
The way you've described it, yeah, it sounds like when anyone who followed Sports Rundown last season in particular, when the kind of shots on target market was really just being introduced, and maybe a bit the season before, we were quite profitable on that for a while personally and on the website, and it just then the kind of bookies adjusted the prices down a bit, and it doesn't offer the same value. This feels like one of those ones, Gary, where if you accumulate up quite a few of the safer ends of the corner markets and get that kind of value, it feels like something that could, might not last that long, sort of make hay while the sun shines, because it just seems the way you've described it. Now we could just be getting a bit of beginner's luck tonight, but it seems, very, very attainable.
I actually did a test. I did a test one earlier on with the championship. And I think it was 8 teams I put in, and it accumulated up. So 8 teams, and it was a mix of over 7 and over 8 corners. And it was a 10-1 shot with just 8 in there. So a couple of them were like 4-6, a couple of them were like 1-3, whatever way it accumulated up. But there definitely is accumulators in there. Now my bet didn't win because Brentford, there was only 2 corners in that game, and I realized that I didn't factor in the fact that it was a pretty much dead rubber game. So I looked at the stats historically over the season and didn't realize that both teams, Brentford were going to finish 3rd in the league, and they couldn't get 2nd, they couldn't get 4th. That was it. And then Bristol City, I think it was Bristol City they were playing. They were clear relegation, and they might have been able to move up 1 spot in the league, but it wasn't really that much of kind of motivation for them. So if I had clocked that before the game, I probably wouldn't have put it in. So that was kind of a lesson learned. But as I said, that put it into my head for an idea for tonight. And I did a bit of research on these games and kind of come up with this ACCA. So I still don't want to count my chickens because obviously we've got a bit riding on it. But I think it is something to look at, especially probably the beginning of next season when you know, like the leagues now are all going to be ending. So I don't know if you're doing it in SerieA or something like that. It's probably only 2 games to go, and you know, teams might have kind of given up and be on their summer holidays. But maybe throughout the Euros and at the start of next season and throughout the MLS season, it could get a bit profitable for us.
Gary, what did that Dead Rubber game finish up? What score was it?
I think it could have been 1-0 Brentford. I wasn't really focusing on the score because it's pretty bad.
Just like
corners all the time.
A game with 2 corners.
Brentford.
It kind of feels like they just played for 20 minutes and we're just like, here, ref brought up, like we're just going home.
Yeah, I got that feel. Do you know when you're because again, the game wasn't televised, and I was watching actually the Leeds versus Tottenham game because all of the championship games kicked off at lunchtime today in the UK. So I couldn't watch it, so I was just watching on a bookmaker screen. And you know, and you just see there's not even an attack or a dangerous attack; it's just in possession all the time. It basically felt like that for the whole game. So yeah, it was annoying enough. But
some of those
it was a trial and it was low stakes. Sorry, just give another update. This is looking really, really positive now. So 5 corners in the Montreal game. So we need another 3 there. In the Osasuna game, there's been 5, so we need another 2 corners there. And in the Malaga game, there's actually been 6 corners, so we just need 1 corner in that game. They're in the 44th minute at the minute, so the whole second half we just need 1 corner there. So 50 quid stake, return is 140, and we're up to about 90 quid cash out at the minute. So
I think the only problem we're going to have is that we won't even be halfway through the MLS game. We're going to have that 140 quid burning a hole in our proverbial pockets, because it feels like they'll be comfortably in before that game is going.
Potentially,
desperate searching the corners markets.
Yeah, well, like obviously the biggest one that we need to get in is this game. Like, you know, like we need 9 corners in the Dallas-Houston game, so that's obviously, you know, going to be the biggest challenge. And again, we want, like, you know, as much as I think it will have the corners, we need it to start fairly exciting. If it starts slow, things could start to get nervy. Do you know that way?
Yeah, I'd agree. But, you know, we did see it. I think we've had a few games recently where there was, you know, nearly double digits or even double digit corners in the first half. So if we get, I feel like there's got to be a second half with that soon as well, one of these days. So I'll be confident enough.
I don't know if you saw there. Mane actually scored in the Liverpool match just now.
Well, it hasn't come up on my screen yet, but that is good news.
Sorry, I thought you would switched it off because you were talking through your other games there. I shouldn't.
No, sorry, I've got 75 screens on the go here with all the different sports on. So, but yeah, it's actually just going to come up on my screen. Did you see the goals, lads?
No, I didn't see it. No.
Jesus, I wonder what odds you would have got for a Mane header, like assisted by Salah. Just he flicked it into the back post. As a defender, should be kind of disappointed with himself because I doubt Mane has scored that many headers in his career. But
doesn't feel like it anyway. That's for sure.
No, but it's nice to get that one in for the 5 scorers. I don't know whether you want to give a quick update on the 5 scorers and let viewers know what it is, because I think we should possibly look into running one of these on Sports Rundown next season. So if you're watching in, and, you know, Liam will give a quick overview of it there. If you like the idea, let us know so we can see that there is a market for it, and you know, that people will enter. So over to you, Liam.
Yeah, I'm kind of pretty unhappy with the 5 scorers at the minute, Gary, because I had Kane and not Son, so wasn't really in the mood to talk about it this week. But we'll dive in. Basically, you pick 5 Premier League players to score a goal each weekend. It's like a pool system. You put your money in, and you know, it's not like a bet or anything like that. It's just, you know, you pick them, and then whoever gets 5 right wins the prize of that week. If nobody gets 5 right, the prize rolls over to the following week. You can pick the same player multiple times, so you maybe not recently, but you would have seen plenty of seasons where Aguero might be down for 3 or 4. Even Kane would have been usually down for 2 or 3 last season, and even 1 this week, unfortunately. So you pick your 5 players, and then you hope to get the 5 of them to find the back of the net in the week. I'm out this week, unfortunately, but Gary is still going strong, and actually that Mane goal has put you in a nice position. So it's a monster prize we're dealing with at the tail end of this Premier League season. I've actually wondered before, is there kind of interest, and anyone who's watching the show, let us know in the comments, for other leagues, because every 5 scorers or kind of fantasy or last man standing, every competition you ever really see is Premier League. But I wonder would there be interest in a further afield leagues. But the 5 scorers is certainly an entertaining one, and looking forward to doing it again next season. And we might even do
I don't know if you remember, Gary. We did a competition, worked together years back, where you picked. I think I have 7 in my head, but it could have been 10 players to score in the Champions League. So throughout the whole Champions League season, and it was like whoever got there first won it. So it was kind of, it spanned. I know the 5 scores has spanned multiple weeks now with the same pot rolling, but the way this one worked out, there was no way you were going to win it in the first round or 2 of the Champions League. It was certainly going to go on the length of the group stages, and then you're getting to the point where the players picked might be knocked out of it or that sort of thing. So in terms of other
Slats, I think we should definitely come back to that, and even in the context of the upcoming Euros. But we're about to kick off here now in the Houston game. It looks so just
before that kicks off, LB. Sorry, but you were right in the Belgium game. So Antwerp have just scored about the 47th minute. So we just need Anderlecht for that side of the bet. So
and it's the away slight underdogs, so it's definitely good for both teams to score bet too.
Yeah, and Anderlecht have been kind of poor this season, but they were quite good last week against Bruges, and I think that they're in better form maybe than the odds imply. So I think they probably they have a good chance to get back into this one.
Yeah, but they won 4-1 in Antwerp a few weeks ago, so at home you'd be expecting to score a sheet, but we'll see how it pans out.
Yeah, and we're live now in the MLS game here. So about 30 seconds in, no throws yet, nothing to help Gary.
I actually the whole Betalong and the whole head-to-head has gone out the window in my mind. I'm just cheering on the corners.
That can happen, all right, for sure. So we are into 50 seconds, Slats, and there has not been a throw yet. So you could be in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, well, I've had a few good starts that have U-turned on me, so maybe getting off to a poor start either means I'm going to be absolutely hockeyed, or maybe I can turn it around myself.
So they played around, and then on the minute mark they took their shot, went wide, so it's a goal kick, and that's a double win there for Gary on the stroke of the 1 minute mark. There
isn't much better in this competition than hearing that, when someone needs a corner and it happens, or throw in and that happens.
Yeah, exactly. I'm bitter about the corner that didn't come in the first 5 minutes of the second half, and it came in about 2 seconds late, and then led directly to a shot, and you got the double win. I got the double loss. A lively enough start to this game. I'm not sure if you guys are watching it. Plenty of action so far. Houston certainly look up for it, Gary. So your prediction seems pretty reasonable so far. We're only 2 minutes in, of course.
Again, as I said, on the balance of form over the last couple of weeks and the performances, especially the performance last week against LA, I just thought they were overpriced. So fingers crossed they can give me a good run out of it. As if for our bet, a couple of early corners would settle the nerves. Again, I'll call out just the progress on that, because there actually was some good progress. So we have 6 corners in the Montreal-Vancouver game. That leaves us needing 2. It's just going into half time, so we'll need 2 in the second half. Then in the Athletic Bilbao Osasuna, we have 6 corners, so we just need 1 corner in the second half there. And in Malaga Mallorca, we're the same, the 6 corners, so we need 1 there. So altogether 4 corners will get us onto this game, and that we need 9 in this game. So again, it would be nice to see a couple early just to calm those nerves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any sign of no corner kick from ELB?
Nope.
So we don't go down 3-0 after the early markets.
It's pretty lively. A lot of running, a lot of energy, but nothing that really looks like it would have led to a corner. So, you are really well. What are you? 75 seconds. My math is a bit poor at the minute. A minute and 10 seconds to go until that corner.
It's how many minutes is it for the corner? I thought it was a bit more than that.
Did caveat that by saying that my math is not great at the moment, Slats, so I'm not even going to bite on that one. But you got up until the 6-minute mark anyway. So
okay. So I think we're about 2 minutes now.
And we're about 5 minutes back into the second half in Italy, by the way, for anyone who's interested there. It's still 1-0 Fiorentina, but still plenty of action at the same time.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to get matched here on another 2 goals in that match on LB's advice. So it's 1.98 here, and I'm greedily waiting for even money.
It's a tough one to hold on for, isn't it? You feel like, oh, what's that 2 points? What makes no difference? I might as well just take what's available. Hard to know. Can backfire.
We'll probably do with a Lazio goal fairly quickly, could we?
I would, yeah. I mean, at this stage, I'd much prefer 1-1 than 2-0. So yeah, it would be all for that. For anyone who's watching the stream, by the way, that game is now moved to the small background screen, and the Houston Dallas match is the primary one. But yeah, I would be quite keen on a goal there at some stage soon. 5 and a bit minutes gone now, and still no sign of this corner. The first 2 shots have gone to Houston, by the way, Gary. So you're looking good on the race to 3 shots as well.
I think we should just wrap it up because we know he has the corner and shot in the second half. I mean, it's already pretty much done. Like,
yeah, I feel like he never doesn't win those, or never
no, he always seems to get them.
Oh, sorry, apologies. 5:45 the clock. It's a corner, Dallas, which actually gives a little revival to.
They need to take it though, do they?
Oh, I tell you, will still. So they do. Oh, they took it. They took it on 5:57. So that was. Do you know what? The fact that you jumped in on that one so enthusiastically, Gary, tells me that you might be worried about the head-to-head this week. It might not be the procession that it usually is.
Oh, I'm always worried, sure. But it's probably like on the balance of probability, I need to go or should go on a bad run. But yeah, so
get your excuses in early anyway. So it's just statistics. If you don't win tonight, is that what it is? There was actually a foul here. Could be a little bit of a delay. And if it came right after that corner, if it come right before it, obviously you'd have missed out on that one. So that's 2-1, which feels an awful lot closer than the 3-0 that we were staring down the barrel of there.
Sorry to interrupt. Goal Anderlecht, so that's in. So
lovely.
Our treble. So for anybody who got on our treble, that was posted it last night on SportsRunDown.com. So we're waiting on Lazio to turn around. If Lazio can get 2 goals in the last 40 minutes of the game in Italy, that'll be that bet in. So
the one.
Yeah, that's pretty good. What was it, 14-1 slots?
It was just about 12.5 to 1.
12.5 to 1, okay. And then like we would actually bring, as things stand, there would be like the 93 to 1 that we mentioned as well for the 2 draws and the Lazio win. So that would have been incredibly close given that Shamrock Rovers won in the 92nd minute in the Irish game. So I'd be happy enough with the 12 to 1 coming in, but decent shout on that as well. Just need to call it out.
Yeah, so for anyone who is watching, just make sure to get on Sports Rundown Thursday, Friday, Saturday of the week. We've articles up nearly every day or multiple some days, but just the Friday ACCA and the Saturday ACCA are proven pretty successful the last couple of weeks and months. So yeah, get on the site during the week and see those bets before we come on air. Make sure to get on it yourself.
The Saturday one, we obviously look to have some of those markets, while we're on air. But yeah, I mean, to be safe, you definitely need to check it out on the site because just like today's treble, we did have one 6 o'clock kickoff in the bet. and the other two going on at the moment. So yeah, definitely worth keeping an eye on the site to make sure you catch those before we go live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It's still a bit quiet now from Lazio's point of view, so not worried yet, but drifting towards that territory. Dallas seem to have played their way back into this game a bit, Gary. Not sure if you have been keeping much of an eye on it. What your thoughts are?
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on it there. It is like, yeah, it's kind of flowing. The first couple of minutes, Houston dominated. Now Dallas are back on top, but I think it's fairly open. Again, if I was on Houston at even money, you might be a bit worried. But 5-2, I think they're playing like a 5-2 shot, and are playing like less than 5-2 shot in my mind. So, still a long way to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've just clicked on the Lazio game here now, so can keep an eye on it. But there's a Fiorentina player down injured, so with the Italian injuries, that could take a couple of minutes.
Yeah, it could be a while, all right. Yeah, I'm keeping an eye here on I'm looking at the Houston match. It's actually, it looks to have slightly calmed down a bit, which is probably, no harm for you, Slats.
Well, yeah, depending.
Yeah,
a few markets that suit me if it stays calm a while, but I would like plenty of corners for our own, that ACCA that Gary's been talking through, and I obviously have over 10.5 corners in our head-to-head as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I want more goals in the second half, so I'm kind of comfortable enough if there's no goal for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Although Houston they've got their 2 shots, and so one more there, and that's another win for Gary.
That's not good accurate. Yeah, hopefully a few corners for Dallas. So
have you must have evens now, Slats, for the 2 goals in the Italian match.
Yeah, I'm matched on that now, all right, and I'm already regretting it. No, not regretting it, but already stressing. I'm in pretty high stakes on that. So, bought into your word.
Plenty of time left. So, is it? You just need one more goal, is it?
No, I need two more goals. Over 2.5. Yeah.
But for anyone who's watching, you mentioned high stakes there, Slats. Maybe it's worth talking to viewers through the approach on that one. It's quite an entertaining style of bet that you do.
Yeah, so it's my dream bet. It's one of my life goals is to win one of these just once ever. So the idea is that you do 10 bets. You start with just €10, so you're only staking €10 of your own money, and you do 10 bets at even money. So 10 even money shots gives you 10 grand return in the end. So basically you go up to 20, 40, 80, 160, 320, 40, 1250, 2,500, 5,000, 10,000. And so, it's effectively it's tossing a coin 10 times and trying to get heads every time. It isn't that easy, but if you find some value, and it can just be a bit of fun, it's 10 bets and you kind of see how long you go. So I started one today and I got up bet 1 to 20, 2 to 40, 3 to 80, 4 to 160, and 5 to 320. So I'm halfway there, and I now have 320 riding on a goal, 2 goals in SerieA. So,
Jesus, that's nice.
When you say you've got 320, you mean it'll go to 320 if you win this one, or you've got 320 on this?
I've 320 on this to win 640.
Oh wow, nice.
It will be good. I try and kind of forget about the money side of it because it means nothing until you get to the 10 grand. It'd be great to be, more than halfway there, but the money itself, I'm not planning on cashing out.
In that, you always have to think of it as a tenner,
Exactly,
in your mind, you have to say it's only a tenner.
It's like you're doing a 10 game accumulator, except you're doing them one at a time instead of doing them all together. If you did them all together, you'd only be going, right, it's a tenner, and if it doesn't all come off, I lose the tenner. So you kind of have to try and think of it like that, and not consider taking the option of a cash out or just stopping it after 6 bets or anything.
Yeah,
I just wish I knew you were so far along, Slats. I wouldn't have been so bullish about this particular bet. Feel a bit nervous myself now.
It's like in Who Wants to Be a Millionaire when do you want to tell the phone a friend what question you're on, or do you want to
yeah,
not say anything? I think I was better off just whether it was the €10 bet or the €320 bet, just getting your opinion. But I knew you felt strongly about that game, and I mean all the stats. I was looking at it myself, writing up for our article, like, and all the stats look like to be, 3 goals in that game, like.
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, for the viewers watching in, let us know what you both think of Slats' bet, and I suppose the strategy and the logic behind what he's doing. Do you like it? With YouTube, we're monitoring the comments throughout the night.
Yeah, and as you said that, Gary, the Houston had their third. Houston had their third shot of the game, so that is now another win for Gaz. So that is now 4-1, if my simple addition is right. So the corners are looking really key now for you, Slats. Actually, you've got
how many shots did Dallas have so far? Was it even close on that?
Well, it was 2-1 at one point, and then it went 3-1. So, I mean, kind of, I suppose. It's tough to say close when it's only 0-1 or 2. But there's only been one corner in this game, and I mean, obviously for our bet that getting 9 there is going to be crucial. But then also for you, Slat, you've got the over corners and you've got the race to corner. So
yeah, it's
going to be a big one for you.
Yeah, I need corners everywhere except the first 5 minutes of the second half.
I'd nearly be saying that if we get it, so might think about cashing out of this bet. If we could get £100 of a cash out, so that would be evens for our 50. I might take it, given that there's only one corner in the first 20 minutes here. It will be a waste to let it ride when things aren't looking good. But I think
you're getting 100,
less than 10 or 15 minutes. Hope for the other ones to land fully, so we get the full cash out value of it.
Yeah, exactly. If anyone who's just joined the stream, you might see on the screen we've got we get them up there now for you. We've got a kind of an in-play corners ACA, and the main game that it's riding on tonight is the Houston Dallas match. So that's what Gary's referring to. If we get a couple of winners in the earlier games, then we might cash out and save ourselves the pain of watching no corners roll in the latter stages of this Texan clash.
Yeah. But again, as I said, 2 or 3 corners could change that, I think, and turn it on its head. So we'll reassess it in a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
As you said, this game started really lively, but it kind of calmed down now, and that can be a worry,
Yeah, it has very much calmed down, as unfortunately our SerieA game has gone on the quiet end of things as well. So still time there for that one to spark into life, but it's time is beginning to drift.
Hoping like the Lazio, if they equalise even with 15 minutes to go, like you're saying, it could spark into life into it. It could push Fiorentina to go back at them a bit, and it would definitely push Lazio to go for the winner. So I don't think there's any need to panic yet, but I'd certainly be hoping for 1-1 by 75 minutes.
Yeah, it's actually funny. I in my head expected this to be a sort of a 3-2 kind of game, and maybe that's why I'm starting to feel like it's getting very, very late. But in reality, there is plenty of
for 2 more goals. Yeah. But I would be hoping though that it does go Lazio's way, because 2-0. If it goes 2-0 with 15 minutes to go, Lazio might give up on it a bit. Fiorentina might sit back a bit. So, we're a bit more reliant on Lazio scoring next than we would be if scored up to this point. If it went 2-0 up to now, you wouldn't be too concerned.
Yeah. Did you just see that?
Aren't getting back though, they're still attacking. So once the game stays open, there's a chance that anything could happen.
Absolutely.
Dynamo just had a good chance there, Gary. I'm not sure if you saw it.
No, sorry, I was looking at the Lazio game, so I didn't.
I think it just hasn't. I don't even think it counted as a shot for some reason in the stats, but they're up to 3 shots each anyway. Still no corners, Slats. So that's beginning to drag there. Yeah, the Lazio game seems to actually be heating up a bit again now. That foul and free seems to have sparked a bit of life into things.
So I'm just going to drop off a second there, lads, and I'll grab a drink for myself.
Yeah.
The Lazio jersey is very fluorescent. Like that's the
Not
first
sure I
time I've
like
seen
it. And
this
it's funny,
season.
their home jersey and their old, especially their old style home jerseys, are some of the classiest kits you'll get, like the blue and white.
Yeah,
That neon yellow is just gaudy, isn't it? It's like a traffic. What do
I
they
think
call
I need to
lollipop
drop a
women?
few stone to fit in one of those jerseys anyway. You know, the kind of the capo ones that are,
Yeah,
they call them figure hugging.
that's a gentle way. That's a polite way of describing them as well.
Yeah.
Look.
Okay, so a little bit of a boom there. So Bilbao got their corner, so that's that. But it's actually Osasuna got the corner. So that's that one in. So we're down to 3 corners in other games, and we actually need 9 corners. Or sorry, 8 corners in the Dallas game, 8 more corners. So still not out of the woods yet.
No. It is heating up now. We've had shots now have increased quite a bit. We've gone from up to 6 shots so far in the first half. So I think it could liven up. And like you said, it got a couple of more of those to keep the line from drifting too far. We could get a reasonable cash out in this.
Yeah, definitely. So the cash out has actually gone down a good bit, given that it's been a fairly slow start to the game. But again, as you know, I was saying, if you look at it on a cadence basis, so we need 8 corners, but there's 70 minutes left. So you're probably looking at a 9 corner every 9 minutes, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to put it in those terms. So you're mentally anyway, you give yourself a bit of a boost. The second Spanish game is in there as well. So it's been a corner for Mallorca. So both of those games are in. We're not going to have anything where we need 1 corner in the second half and it's just a boring half and we don't get anything. So it's down to the full MLS now. So 2 corners in Montreal and Vancouver, which is just kicked off for the second half. And then we need 8 corners in the main game, Dallas and Houston.
Yeah, the 2 corners certainly, and I'm probably going to eat these words, certainly feels like it's going to just come in at some stage. Can't see that one not coming in.
We've actually just got a corner in the Houston game, and it's the cheapest corner you will see. I don't know whether you saw that, LB, but it was it was no danger whatsoever, and the keeper decided that he was going to try and make a save and parried it out. So hopefully it's a double whammy here, and we can get another corner to back it up, like a slice out from a defender or something like that.
Yeah, I always thought that'd be nice, lads. Yeah, I always thought, not sure if you would watch much of the French football, but I always found that the French keepers were the more theatrical kind of keepers. They had big flamboyant saves really when there was no need for them, and punches when they can catch. But it's nice to see that there's a bit of it in the MLS here as well now.
Punches when you can catch is one of the most theatrical things a keeper can do. It's so dramatic, like big fist through the ball.
Yeah, the double fist, like from his chest, like he could have easily just caught it like a freaking rugby ball, but he decides to double punch
pressure
it out.
on him or anything.
Yeah, that did go. Oh no, it didn't. He's running the other way. Sorry, I thought he was running over to the corner flag there.
So there's a throw in. Just it was like a yard away from.
Yeah, I saw the ball, and then I saw the guy running over. I thought, oh, brilliant, but no.
Yeah, but again, it's back to the cadence of a corner every 10 minutes in that game will do us fine, and then we need 2 corners in the second half of Vancouver and Montreal. So that cadence is probably 22 minutes a corner, which at the minute looks, as you said, LB, fairly solid, but we won't count the chickens just yet.
No. Speaking of counting chickens, I'd love a little bit of action now in the Fiorentina game. It's gone just a bit quiet for my liking. Lazio had a good spell of pressure there without really creating anything. I'm not sure if you're still watching that one, Gary. A lot of huffing and puffing, but nothing really no real threat against the goal.
No, I just flicked off there a moment ago. So God, it's close there to be another corner in the Dallas Houston game. Did you see that? The defender was shepherding out of play, and he nearly got caught out with it.
Reached around and kicked it off his shin type of job. I love to see those when you've got a cornerback.
Yeah. Nothing better.
So there'll be no real head-to-head action on this one now until the second half. The race to corners is the last one left, so that'll presumably come in before half time. Certainly, well, Slats is knocking on the door of that one, 2-0, or 2-0, I suppose. If and then the rest of them will all be in the second half.
Gary, for your 5 scores, so you've 2 out of 5, and if all 5 come in, you'll win like $6,000. Who are the 2 that have come in, and who are the 3 that you have?
I think I've just got 1 out of 5 Slats.
Oh, sorry, you've only 1. I just actually assumed that you would have had either Son or Iheanacho in the Leicester game.
No, so I kind of took a little bit of a risk, and I'm a bit worried about Cavani. If I'm being totally honest, I was in a bit of a rush doing it, and because I was on the run yesterday, so I put Cavani in. But I actually think maybe the fact that Man City didn't clinch the title today, Solskjaer can't put out a kind of second string team. My thinking was, if City won the league, given the run that United have, I think they've got 4 games in 9 days, and two in the midweek. I think they play Tuesday, Thursday, or Tuesday, Friday this week.
It's a ridiculous schedule that they have.
So, I think he's definitely going to have to, rest players in some of the games. It's just whether he does it tomorrow or not, given that they still have a chance to win the title. I was thinking that, if they hadn't got a chance to win the title, he would do it tomorrow, play a half-strength team against Leicester, and then a full-strength team against Liverpool on Thursday, because obviously that's kind of it's obviously not a proper derby, but it's a heated game, and the teams don't like each other. They're not going to put a reserve team out in that, especially when they can really stop Liverpool from getting European football, or Champions League football. So yeah, I hope Cavani starts, but I'm a bit worried about that. I did Aubameyang for Arsenal, Maja for Fulham. So again, Fulham have to go all out attack. Really, they need a win against Burnley if they have any hope of staying up. And then I've done Mikel Antonio against for West Ham against Everton on Sunday. So obviously he scored 2 last Monday. And Everton have shifted a few goals lately, so I'm hoping.
You could see that being a high-scoring game, West Ham Everton. I think. Yeah, I just didn't know who really to vote, but Antonio seems a decent shout. He scored the brace.
If you read my SportsRunDown.com kind of Premier League rundown, I did give a shout to Son. I actually was in the shots on target market, but I think he was, and I know he obviously scored. He got 1. I don't know whether he got 2 up, but he was something like 11-5 or 13-5 for 2 shots on target, which I thought was amazing value. So I probably would have put him in if it wasn't the 12:30 game, but I've been kind of knocked on a few of those 12:30 games before, so decided to leave it out.
Yeah, it's always it seems the better option to avoid them, but then if the players do score and other players have them, you feel like you're at such a disadvantage where you still need 5 players to score and they just need 3 or 4.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I was delighted with that I went with Iheanacho last night and got him, and then I thought, right, if I have Iheanacho and Kane up after before the 3 o'clocks even roll around, I would be in such a good position. But obviously Kane didn't score, bit me in the came back to bite.
Even greedier than that, I was I did Iheanacho and Vardy in the Leicester game both to score, so I was similar to you. I was hoping to have 2 down before the Saturday games even started. But yeah, that blew up in the case.
Not many guys left in it though, so I'd be kind of half expecting that it could roll over again. Like anyone who's left, I think maybe one guy has 2 out of 5, and that's the best. Or a couple of guys are 2 out of 5, that's the best. So I'm not sure. Dallas seemed to be. What do you think? I think turning the screw a little bit in this.
Yeah, did you see the diving header there a couple of minutes ago?
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt, but
goes out the keeper. I was actually kicking myself that day, or not kicking myself, but I was actually annoyed the keeper didn't parry it out for a corner. But yeah, it was a good attack and good save. But they are starting to dominate now. So, but that happened last week with Houston as well. They seem to play in patches. Like they had a spell last week where I think it was just before and just after half time they looked really, really good. And at the start and end of the game, they kind of let LA dominate. So might just be a pattern with them, you know.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of dominate, Fiorentina. I don't know. There's like Lazio are still doing a lot of the playing, but I just think it's starting to look. You just get those. I mean, they haven't scored in the first 3 minutes.
Doing a lot of the play acting, though, aren't they?
Yeah, it's silly business like that they're doing now.
The man rolling up, he got fouled and he ended up off the sideline, like.
Yeah, no, they should make him stay off the pitch for that. You see, I'm not sure if you watched the same feed of the rugby last night, lads, but how much of the referee you were listening to?
Yeah, I mean, I could hear him.
And you know when he was being, I forget that one of the Ulster players was holding one of the Munster guys in on the wrong side of the ruck, and he said to him, "Like, you can slow it down if you want, but I'm not giving you a penalty for it." I like that kind of proactive refereeing.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice to see.
And just being kind of transparent about it as well, like, you know.
Yeah. It's even money for one more goal in this match now, 5-1 for 2. I think the 2 is just starting to look really, really. If they don't score soon, it's going to look really unlikely that we get that. Oh, there's a huge chance here in the Vancouver-Montreal match. Oh, he just ran into the box. I didn't see which striker it was. Ran into the box. Didn't shoot when he had the chance, and then played for the dive, and kind of fairly theatrical dive now, didn't.
For Fiorentina, is it?
No, sorry, Vancouver, Montreal. I was watching that. Fiorentina very nearly scored, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I was watching, and then as the fellow was shooting, he went down in a theatrical manner as well. So that's what I actually thought you meant about. I presume that's
in Vancouver, Montreal now.
Oh
Vancouver penalty, I think.
I think it wasn't given, unless I'm a bit behind.
They're on the water break in Dallas, Houston. For anybody watching in, wondering why we're kind of moving about here. Yeah, like it's definitely a penalty, but it's definitely given as a penalty. But it looked as though it could be outside the box on my first glance of it there. So
if this is not given, I'd actually be inclined to back Vancouver. They're really turning the screw here. But he was no way was he outside the box. That's penalty all day long. If they review it, I don't see how that'll get overturned. So that's your penalty.
I haven't seen a good angle of it yet. The angle they're showing is from behind the goal, so the depth perspective is.
My feed is actually a bit behind. I just saw it live there. So,
are we going to go through our whole odds on the penalty being saved?
Oh, hold on. No, never mind. Thought we had something coming our way in the. Oh, is it going to get reviewed? A really high boot from a Fiorentina player here. No, I think this is going to be a yellow. More theatrics.
It was the Lazio player that got booked, though, was it?
Yeah, it was actually. I saw the replay from behind. I thought it was a yellow card for the Fiorentina player, but no, it's the Lazio guys after being booked.
Yeah, the Fiorentina players, he had a bit more of a swing at the ball.
Yeah, that was definitely the reckless move was from that guy.
Yeah, I would have thought so too, yeah.
Yeah, that's 4 yellow cards in a row for Lazio. They just look to have lost their heads a bit.
Oh, penalty.
Never a good sign.
Penalty for Houston. I think the ref's giving it for handball. So a ball come in from the right-hand side. Oh, it's definitely a handball. Yeah, the striker headed it and the defender. I don't think he meant it, but it's definitely a handball. So this could be actually really good. Obviously, it's good for my 5-2 bet, but it could be really good if Houston take the lead as well, because Dallas will have to kind of go all out attack for the corners too. So
I'm just annoyed that I combined that tip of yours, Gary, with Lazio, and 10 minutes left there now. It's not looking good.
I feel like everything you have on tonight, LB, involves Lazio and goals in Lazio and some of the every
wouldn't
other
be far
bet
off
just-
that. I'd say it's 80% of my weekend.
great penalty there to go 1-0 up for the Dynamo.
Yeah, it was very nice. No messing around, just, business like. I think, the set plays like that, very hard to stop them. Or set pieces, sorry, not set plays.
I forgot that my both teams to score was in either half in the head-to-head. So that's not much good for me.
It's very much advantage Gary now, because, I mean, the way these are lined up now, the corners are obviously very low. There's a goal in the first half at least, so you need one in the second half. Although if it's a very goaly second half, you might be all right. You might get over 2.5, and both teams to score in the second half could be good for you. That would give you the half with more goals. So it's actually more even than I realised. Apologies.
Yeah, we could do it. The corner count for that bet creeping up, so our cash out is slowly declining. It's gone from high 90s down to 65 at the moment. I still think we're in a decent position, but I would like a corner in the Houston game and try to get the Vancouver Montreal corners in the bag as soon as possible.
Yeah.
What did you think of that penalty there, Abby? Do you think it was a penalty or harsh, or what was your opinion?
Like, in this day and age, you see them given, like, it's getting a bit, what's the word? I like to see them a little bit of a higher bar to get over, but yeah, I mean, it's just, if the contact is beneficial to you, they're going to call a penalty. It's the end of it. So
yeah, I mean,
it's a tough rule, to be honest, because it's an easy one to cheat. Back in the day, you used to see people quite proactively cheating with their hand. So yeah, I don't know. As long as there's no grey area, and they're fairly, what's the word? Referees are fairly equal with how they enforce that rule. It's very hard to see any kind of room for bias, even if it's accidental bias. So I'm okay with it. But what do you think yourself?
yeah, like, I mean, obviously, when I played football, I was a defender, or I am a defender. I haven't retired yet, but I'd be, there's not much you could do about it, but the fact that it was going to probably be going into the goal, I think it had to be given. So I kind of the same lines as you. Slightly harsh, but it's fair as well. Probably great to see.
Lazio just had a nice little turn into the box, and the defender went down so easily, and it was a free out, and I think it's a very, very soft free out. So I think their luck is, the ship has sailed. Their luck is not in today. So it'll be a tough one there for us at the end of that.
They have. Am I right in thinking that Lazio have had quite a lot of late comebacks? I remember one game where I think Immobile scored like 89 and 92 or something like that this season. So again, obviously you can't be counting on that, and the likelihood is the bet is gone. But it has been done as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too worried. Like, if the game was playing a different way, the Fiorentina looked like they have Lazio's number here. They're
they just look in control.
Yeah, exactly. They're diving at the right time. They're fouling at the right time. They're stepping back at the right time. I think Lazio have just
slowing down the pace. Well, like, just stopping the game, stopping the flow of it. Like
Lazio picked up 4 yellow cards in the second half of the second half. Like, they're just. I agree with you, Gary. They do have a bit of form and picking up late wins, but they just don't look like they're in the mood for it today, unfortunately. At this stage, though, I take Slats' bet coming in, and just 2 goals for Fiorentina and let the over 2.5 wrap up nice and easy. But
Corner
I think
here. Again, though, I feel like if Fiorentina go up 2-0, that's just game over. Like, neither team is really going to be pushing for anything else out of it.
yeah, that's true. What's our cash out on the corners one looking like, Gary?
It's just gone suspended, and I'm hoping it's because so there's just been another corner there. So we're up to 76 quid of a cash out. So there's 3 corners in that game. I think if we get one more
Dallas,
right? So it's a Dallas corner. So it's got Dallas 1-3 now. So you're going to win that corners market, the race to corners. I think that if you get one more before half time, the bet is looking good. But it's mad how this goes. Like, we're 20 minutes into the Vancouver game and there hasn't been another corner yet. There was 6 in the first half, so we only need 2, but there hasn't been one in the first 20 minutes of that. Oh, lovely! I think it's gone for another corner in the Dallas game. So that was back-to-back corners. So up to 4 there now.
Makes such a difference. Curiosity, what did the cash out go to?
90, nearly 91. So it's 90-95. So
it's a nice increase on 76 a couple of seconds ago, you know.
Exactly. Like, I mean, we need 7 corners across 2 games. In probably about 80 minutes of football. So again, it's
just Vancouver. There's a nice cross. I missed who it was. A nice cross into the box from Vancouver, and there was 2 defenders sort of half swung a leg at it, and neither of them managed to connect, and it went straight out for a goal kick. But it would have been a nice to get that corner in that game. It's still the guts of half an hour left.
So like that is the worry now that just takes down, and Vancouver.
I'm watching it here. Montreal are actually pushing. They're fighting for this. So there's certainly nobody sitting back on the win. So obviously we could get a bad beat, and the corners don't come, but it won't be for lack of trying anyway. So
and Montreal have been fairly attacking to start. Like, that's been their kind of, like, they've let a lot of goals in, but they've also been a good threat going forward. So you'd expect them to kind of go all out for it. But
Lazio had a great chance there, and
you
still watching that stat.
Yeah, it was tame enough in the end, really. Like,
straight at the keeper.
Straight at the keeper without any sort of power. But a good chance if he had just directed that header a bit better.
If this was 10 minutes earlier and Lazio were playing like this, I'd be getting fairly confident that the comeback would be on.
They've just left it so late. They've sparked into a bit of life now, all right.
They really have. Like, you can see them going.
Goal, Dallas. Dallas have scored.
Oh, boom.
Oh, sweet.
That's it. But that's it. Both teams have scored either for slats up. So this is all turning on its head a bit here.
Well, I need more goals in the second half. So that it's made that one a bit tricky. But you never know. Some of these MLS games, there could be 3 goals in the second.
Well, I mean, it was 3-1. We were on the verge of 4-1 a minute ago, and now it's 3-3. So, looking pretty good. The over 2.5 is on
there for Lazio.
Like, this is a very controversial goal.
Why?
It's back to the kind of offside conversations that we'd have had previously, LB.
Interfere with play.
Yeah, so he was walking back out when the ball was crossed. The ball came in from the right hand side, and it was a deep cross. Basically, the left winger got it, but the striker was in kind of around the 6-yard box offside, and then he went back out and came back in and scored. So, like, he
was offside for the original passage, and then he got involved in the play, but from an onside position then after.
Yeah, like, it's a different phase of play, but the phase of play is like, I'd say 10 seconds separated, To me, like, that's the one I don't like about the offside rule as it is. Like, he has to be interfering with play, because when the cross was coming in initially, the defender's like, he's offside. And then all of a sudden he's just got like 4 or 5 yards of a head start on him because of where he was,
I know it's old fashioned, but I just go back to the 90s style of, if any player is offside, it's offside. And if you're over on the right hand wing tying your shoelace, I don't care. Like, just
I agree.
The handball rule all I want for my rules is that there's no grey area, because how often do you see it every season where there's a guy standing? He definitely moves the key. If you move the keeper half a foot, like you've interfered with play.
Oh, sorry, lads. Fiorentina scored.
Wow, 2-0.
Fiorentina scored. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, header from the corner. Their coach just got a yellow card in the build-up to that for some reason. I don't know what he was doing. I didn't even know.
So this is all heating up now. So we've got 20 minutes in the Vancouver game for 2 corners, 5 minutes in reality with the added time for a goal in the Fiorentina match, maybe 4 minutes, and then we got our head-to-head. So yeah, this is class.
I'm really worried about the Vancouver game for the corners because you kind of chalk it up. Oh, if I said that, Montreal have just got a corner, have they?
Just got a corner, yeah. Oh no, offside.
In my head, I chalked that up. I think you're a bit behind me on that, LB. That's the one I was going to say, but they've actually Montreal have gone up and had a corner. But that Vancouver corner, essentially they broke. Keeper made a great save, went out for a corner, but it was given as offside. And in my head, I was just like, that's the bet gone. But as Montreal managed to go up and get another corner, and it's gone for a goal kick there. It was a 50-50 decision. So that's good. So we need one more there. And we're home and dry. So one corner in 22 minutes hopefully isn't too much to ask.
No, I wouldn't be worried about that game at all, really. My primary bet on the Lazio game involved both teams to score. It was both teams to score and over 2.5. So I feel like my race is run there. Slats could still have a shot here. Curious to see what goes up in terms of the minutes added on.
Yeah, there hasn't been a whole lot.
Houston need half time here, just by the way.
Sorry, say that again, Gary.
I said if ever a team needed half time, Houston needed. They've just totally gone now, and like Dallas are on the front foot. They have a good chance here from a free kick, but I said Houston just need to get us 2 minutes at a time on. They need to try and get in with the 1-1 draw.
I don't know if you saw there, Fiorentina were on the break, just 6 minutes added, which, geez, that does give us a chance. But Lazio were on the attack, and Fiorentina broke, and it was kind of like I think a 2-on-2 pretty much. But the Lazio player took them down, took the yellow card, definitely yellow card, just a kind of cynical foul to stop the counter attack.
Is that 5 yellow cards in the second half now for Lazio? That's getting hearty.
Lads, this bet is looking good. So Vancouver is in, and Vancouver actually gone 2-0 up as I say that, but the corners are in, which is brilliant for our bet. And there's also been a 5th corner in the Dallas-Houston game. So we basically need 4 second half corners in that game to land the money.
What's the cash out? Yeah.
Sorry, Houston have a great break here. Oh my God. So there was a corner for Dallas. It broke away. A counter attack for Houston. Striker ran basically probably from about 10 yards inside his own half with the ball and got a shot off. The keeper made a good save. So it's 109-14 now at the minute. So, I mean, it's fairly, when you think 4 corners, it's not great. But when you think it took so long to get 4 corners in the first half, it might be the clever thing to do, but I think we'll let it go for 5 minutes in the second half and see how it starts.
Yeah, I think the momentum seems to be building here again. So I'd be happy to let it run for now, at least. Like you said, if there's nothing happens between 45 and 50, then maybe the cash out is a smart play. But
that was some entertaining 10 minutes across all of the different games.
Yeah.
And sorry, speaking of which, I'm after really missing. So there's a race going off at Belmont Park, and there's a 10-1 shot here. It's actually 11-1. So Colombe Doro is who I'm backing here. So Claude McGawley and Jose Ortiz. So 11-1. So that's it. That's who I'm backing at Belmont Park.
Is this a real fancy, or is it just because there's something on?
No, there is one that I picked out from earlier today. Now, there's research gone into it. I think he has a good chance, but obviously he's 11-1 for a reason. So, like he should run well each way.
When does that start, Gary?
Well, it should have gone off about 30 seconds ago, but I don't think they have gone off.
Colombidoro. Is that it?
Colombidoro, yeah. He's actually drifted out to 18-1.
Yeah.
He's 11s earlier.
Seen that,
well,
yeah.
Yeah, he probably got another minute, I'd say, because they're just parading down, maybe a minute or two. There's no need to really rush in, but I'll be happy at 18-1. Be happy with a place here. You know, it's a fifth of the odds, so we're talking about 3.5 to 1 the place, which would be all right.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that Lazio chance there, LB, did you?
Yeah. Sickening.
Probably should have done better with that header. I know there was a bit of pressure and a bit of an arm in them, but
yeah, they've had chances, Lazio, now since we've been, really focusing on the second half. It's been disappointing really out of them, to be quite honest. And they're usually quite, you called out with the stats at the start of the show, they score plenty of goals, so disappointing to see them this kind of misfiring in front of goal.
Yeah, there's a bit of an attack building here. Fiorentina look comfortable enough. No, really. Yeah, Fiorentina have the ball back. Yeah. Just 2 minutes, a minute and a half of injury time to go. The only thing is Lazio are pushing forward, allowing opportunities for Fiorentina. It's a red card here. The same thing again. Fiorentina were on the break. Lazio player just put them down cynically just to stop the counter. So fair enough. I think it was just a second yellow.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of cynicism should always be punished.
Yeah,
anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah, he just took the ankles, took the feet from under him, just to stop him countering. So it's disappointing when you want a goal. The red card's the right decision.
Even more disappointed for me. I need a Lazio goal. I have both teams to score in that. Yeah, so
I was feeling more likely at this point that Fiorentina, if anyone is going to score in the final minute, that it'll be Fiorentina. But
the team with the extra man and the 2 goals already, I feel like they probably have a bit more in their favour.
And the attacking free kick in the final minute.
yeah. The home team who are 1 to 500 to win. Yeah, that's they have a better shot. What is there? 25 seconds left. He's going to punt this down the field. I think nothing's going to come up.
Fiorentina have so many players back there. There's no I don't even think there's enough time on the clock for either team to get a chance there now.
No.
Needs another yellow card for Lazio.
So that's 7 cards now in the second half.
Yeah. Now, they could pump this in toward the box, but I mean, they've no reason to really. So I'd say that's it. It's going to be, if they don't, take this free into the box, probably going to be blown up anyway.
Yeah, I'd be absolutely sick if it happened. If it goes through, well, delighted for you, but I'd be sick myself if it went 3-0, because the only scenario, probably the only 2.5, but not both teams to score, that I could not see happening would have been 3-0 to Fiorentina. But that's how it goes.
That probably half chance there, but nothing. Gone well over 6 minutes, I suppose.
I would be tempted.
3 kicks on that. I've probably added on a bit more time within injury time. Lazio have a bit of a chance here. They're just up at the edge of the box. Oh, not a bad effort. Keeper parried it, but there was nobody there. And that's it.
Yeah.
Did you get on this horse, Liam? All right. They're about halfway through, so they're just coming to, I'd say, the turn into home. He's been held up, so he's going to need a bit of luck in running. Second last at the minute, but he was last about, probably about a furlong ago. He was last, so he's kind of making a bit of progress through the field as they turn into the stretch. But again, he's going to need a good bit of luck in running.
come back to that Lazio match after stats when this race is run.
He's staying on. He's not gonna win it, but might get the place if he stays on. He's giving way too much. Nah, he's not gonna do it. He's giving way too much to do. The winner won it really, really easily. So that's disappointing. Sorry, lads, over to you.
Yeah. Speaking of disappointing, that Lazio game, like, you know, for the over 2.5, there were the chances in it, really, you know, even though the game panned out, nothing like and those team headers and those kind of half-assed shots when
Lazio were just poor, really, weren't they? I mean, they weren't.
weren't at the races.
But like when they kind of went for it there at about 84 minutes, they had, you know, about 5-6 minutes of pressure before injury time, and they were looking decent. You just kind of wonder how these teams can't switch that on at 60 minutes or 70 minutes or as soon as they go down 1-0, that they kind of left it that late before really, you know, going for it, going whole.
Yeah, we saw that is an issue Lazio have, to be honest. We saw it last season when they were really in the title race, and they just, you know, they beat Juve twice in the season. They beat Inter, they beat Napoli. Like, they were beating all the big teams, and then they just could, you know, kind of odd time games, especially the early morning games against kind of small teams, and they just weren't able to turn it on, leave themselves too much to do. Like the way Gary described that race there, really, and you know, just kind of end up shooting themselves in the foot. I mean, they're so much better than Fiorentina that yeah, it's a really disappointing one now from a bit. But I have a soft spot for Lazio anyway, so I don't like to see them lose there. But yeah, it was
the Anderlecht Antwerp game finished a score draw. It was about 4.5 to 1, 5 to 1 maybe for the score draw, which just seems, you know, the two of them finished the league 11 on points. There's not much between them, like, and they were both very.
Yeah. Yeah, just like the lads mentioned earlier in the show, you know, make sure to get onto SportsRundown.com for the bets we put up earlier in the week, you know, so you're not just waiting on stream in case they come a bit late for you. So there's plenty of good bets in there every week, especially around kind of both teams to score markets. It's very profitable for us lately, so make sure to keep an eye on that one.
Yeah, you got to make sure we're not after timing, so check that out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially with those earlier kickoffs, like, you know, if we didn't have that article up and we were just coming on air going, oh yeah, we've already won there. The first of our treble is up and all. So hope you got on it.
Me personally, if I went onto a stream and somebody said that they'd gotten that bet up before we went on air, I just stopped watching straight away. I just wouldn't trust it. So I'm glad we have the site there and it evidenced in writing that these are the picks.
Yeah, another good reason for it as well, I think, is like a lot. I found it particularly with your calls, LB, is that the odds seem to come in on them closer to the game. So, you know, when we put those up, the Friday one, you know, usually goes up Wednesday and the Saturday one up Thursday. And the odds that we post then seem to, you know, come in a bit. But a lot of yours have lately. They've tightened before kickoff, kind of on the Friday or on the Saturday that the game's been played. So it's good even from that perspective as well to get those earlier odds and to share those earlier odds if anyone is joining.
Yeah, there are certain games like that where you get the good value earlier in the week. It's actually not something I would have ever really paid attention to before, and then only when, you know, sitting beside Gary, end up picking up horse racing knowledge kind of by osmosis beside him. The concept of price changing really is relevant. So I do look at those markets now a lot earlier in the week for that reason, because I don't know, is it just people pile bets on later on in the week or what it is, but
well, I do think, I mean, it's that the money is coming on to bets, but you still have to be picking the right side of it. I mean, if you picked both teams to score no, that's going to drift. If both teams to score yes, it's coming in, like, so. I think it's by picking a good bet and picking it early, then there'll be more and more people that, you know, will have seen the value closer to the game and force those odds in.
Makes sense. Speaking of odds, Gary, what's the ACA offering us in a cash out now?
It actually was strange. It went down to 106 there from 109. So I mean, not much of a difference, but it's just strange that like at half time it would change with nothing happening. But again, I think the first 15 minutes of the second half are going to be big. If we can get one or two corners there, it sets the bet up. If we don't get a corner in the first kind of 10 minutes of the second half, might want to think about just banking our money. I'd say it'd be down to about 90 quid there. Take the 40 quid profit, and at least we can roll it on something more. Even probably the thing to do, and I don't know whether you guys agree or not, but I think putting it on another goal would be it's 1-5 for another goal in the game. So if we put the 106 on there, you're going to be getting that bringing 130 as a return, as opposed to needing 4 corners. So I don't know what you guys think in terms of, is 4 corners more likely than another goal in the game? And which ones
My feeling would be that, if you did that, if you change your bet and then the original bet comes in and the bet you've changed it doesn't, you just feel like such a mug. You'd be better off just letting it play out.
I actually like both of them. I'd nearly just take the 106 and then put on a bet of 4 more corners and a goal.
Let me see what that would pay.
But that's also why I had Lazio and both teams to score, and over 2.5 and both teams to score. And it's easy to get.
Yeah, actually, I don't know whether that's worth the risk or not. It only brings it up to you're basically getting a 50% return on it. So the 106 on is 159 returned.
No.
For a double, that seems a little bit, slim.
I mean, the first half, we got a good 10 minutes at least without the goal. Would we be better to let it run a bit? Hopefully, we get a couple of corners and then try and get something on a goal a little bit later in the half. I don't really mind. I think it'll be an open second half.
I think give it 15 minutes in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
See where we are, and we can make a decision. But I agree with you, LB. I'd probably go a little bit lower. Again, in a situation where we got up to near a return, 140 return or whatever, cash out and bank the 100 and put the rest on another goal. Something like that makes sense to me. But we'll see how we go at the start of the second half. This is the benefit of watching the games as well. We know that towards the end of that half, it was a free-for-all. So if it starts like that again, then you'd be fairly confident it's going to land. Sorry, Slats, you were going to say something?
I was just going to ask you if you were keeping an eye on that Liverpool-Southampton game. I know you were watching it earlier. It just looks like both teams have had 13 shots. Southampton have had plenty. I know you were talking about you kind of fancied they might get something out of it. I'm just looking at the goals mark. It's like another goal I got on there at even money just a couple of minutes ago. It's about 6-5 now. But the way Southampton are pushing for it, you would think they'd either score or concede as they try and concede on the counter on that. Liverpool seems to be going at it as well.
Yes, Southampton will actually be kicking themselves that they haven't at least got one goal here, because they've had some great chances. And I'd say if Alisson wasn't in goal, if it was any other goalkeeper, Southampton definitely would have had at least one. It's just given that there's only 11 minutes left. It's obviously what price are you seeing for us, lads? Because as you said, both teams are still attacking. Southampton have had some really good chances.
Yeah, it's 6-5 now. I got it on evens. I got it at evens for another goal just a couple of minutes ago. It's 6-5. That'll obviously keep drifting massively when you're just 10 minutes from the end of the game. But just looking at the stats, I think there seems to be value there. They both are going for it, and like I was saying, if Southampton keep pushing for it and don't score themselves, I could definitely see them conceding. By taking that risk and going for a goal, going for an equaliser.
If you ask me what the probability was of being a goal, I'd probably say a 60% chance. So on that basis, you're getting value at your evens.
I just went in to back it and it went suspended there, so I think.
Yeah,
be
my
in luck,
stream will
lads.
be probably a minute behind that, so I'm not like.
I already ruined it a while ago, so. But I think whatever that was, I think there was something called offside though. I don't think that suspension was anything.
I'll tell you, the second half is just about to kick off here in the Dallas Houston game. So Houston have been out doing a warm up. Dallas have just come out now. They're in a little huddle.
I hope now there's a corner awarded on like 49 minutes 30, and they just take ages to take it after you calling that one out for 6 minutes, saying, "Oh, have they taken the corner yet?" I hope it's just they're arsing around. They get a yellow card.
How long have you been holding on to that slash?
I know, yeah.
The Grudgemeister General just keeping on his little black book.
I just thought of it. Yeah, but yeah.
No, that's noted. Yeah, so it's just kicked off there now in this game. So
I do think it's the same thing. Like I think these two markets, the corner 45 to 50 and the shot 50 to 55, are going to determine the winner. If somebody gets both of those, I think that'll be the winner of the overall.
Yeah. Well, if the half with more goals is the second half, slats,
then it's over 2.5. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, corners. It'll come down to the corners, really.
Yeah, but I think I'm likely to win the over 2.5. I think there'll be another goal, but
yeah,
I think another 3 goals is much less likely. So I think we're probably looking at splitting those two.
Mane just had the ball in the back of the net for you, lads, but it's been disallowed for offside. And he was offside. He was about 5 yards off. But
take your time now, keeper, taking that free out.
Did you not back a goal, slats?
Oh, sorry, I thought you were saying a corner. Who scored, Gary?
Mane scored,
but it was disallowed.
But a goal disallowed, sorry. I thought you said it was a corner disallowed for offside.
No.
Sorry.
I know I do talk a lot about corners, but just not all the time. Like.
All I'm hearing. Shite, that would have been nice now, but yeah, I mean, I still think, I know it's only 7 minutes, but the way that game is going, I still think there's plenty of time for a goal to go either direction there. Once Southampton don't, they keep pushing.
They took Che Adams off, which I think was a bit of a bad move, to put Gineppo on instead. But I thought Adams was playing fairly well, I thought. So surprised they made that sub.
Yeah.
A good attack here now on the right-hand side. Swing it. Well away.
We're looking, this is the Liverpool game you're talking about. And we're looking
Liverpool, yeah. I'm kind of watching both of them.
Oh.
Sorry, yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm watching the Dallas game here now. There's a shot there, shot off target. So obviously it came too early for you, Gary, but goal kick now just been taken nice.
The shot will be 50 to 55. Are you? I know that market isn't available for every game, so I'm just interested. Like, was it actually available for this game, and was it even money?
Oh, it wasn't available for this game.
I can't see it being even money. Like the fact that there's been I'm counting 6, 12, 20 shots, and 9 in less than 10 5-minute periods. If you put it that way, 50 minutes is 5-minute periods, 20 shots. Like, it just seems
shots
like
are usually, depending on the game, it can vary. And obviously this game is probably slightly above the shots than were expected in the pre, there's been more shots in that first half than the bookies would have expected. I'm looking at just on a different note, Dallas Houston are looking fired up here. They've been playing well, so they could get a corner. But it's usually somewhere between 8 to 11 and 10 to 11 for a shot in any 5-minute period, provided it's not a team like Man City or Barca or something like that.
Yeah, fair enough. In your kind of average game, like this,
two normal teams.
Right.
So looking at this one, they didn't have it up, but just looking at the odds and everything, it was going to be 10 to 11, maybe even evens for a shot. This has got corner written all over
Dynamo
it here.
playing it out of their defense there.
Oh God, kick it off him for a fucking corner, really, Jesus.
I know.
I was so sure he was going to.
I was
But the
stuck.
way
I
they
had
just
corner
played
written
it
all
out of
over
the
it.
fence there was real kind of ballsy.
Yeah,
Right
it
down
is a
the other
really
end here.
entertaining game. In fairness,
It is, yeah,
Either
it's
way.
a cracking game.
I can't see what's on the clock there.
It's 49:09 at the minute.
49:09. Geez, that the way this half has started, that's still loads of time for there to be a corner. Calm it down, lads.
no, that clearance there now. I think when you're in this part of the field, I just don't see how it can be a corner.
It's with the wingers, like, and I've noticed that about Houston is that they're playing a right footer on the left and left footer on the right, so they're always
This is the last
cutting
chance.
back. You know, they're not going
Is it
down
even the last
line
chance?
where-
I kind of
back
want
in.
the corner here now because they'll never take it before the 50
No.
minutes.
Gone, and the shot came right before the 50 as well.
Yeah,
Oh, 49, 40 something. Right, so that's a win for no corner. Yeah.
Yeah, I needed that one.
For anyone who's watching the show there was no corner taken in that first 5 minutes of the second half. So
Now I need the corners to roll in.
yeah.
we all need the corners rolling for this bet as well. So
Yeah.
it's the one time I'm cheering against myself.
Although it could be 10 corners, Gary would win the bet, but lose, like win you the market there.
I suppose, yeah, not once it gets to 9, I'll stop cheering for it. Like, but
Yeah.
up until then. Reckon a free out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those frees that's never going to be a free in that position for that level of contact, but or a penalty, whatever it's going to be. But the defender will always get that.
Yeah, nothing in it really.
There's an injury here in the Liverpool Southampton game, so not missing much, but obviously for you lads, that's not great. Needing another goal. Kind of wasting a lot of time, and Salah's gone off as well.
It's not what you want when you're kind of backing something late like that. You just want the action to keep rolling. Maybe a bit of
Salah going off makes a big dent in the 5 scores as well.
Yeah.
Thing.
Which is good.
Numbers there anyway, but I think there's only like 9 left or something.
Yeah, let me tot it up here while we're talking and just we'll give that officially then. There's 2 gone straight away with Salah.
It doesn't look like there has been any shot yet here, right? In the last.
No, it hasn't been yet. No.
Let's keep passing it around, lads. Maybe a few corners that come from no shot, and don't.
Could be the final nail in my coffin here.
Yeah, well, I think all those victories you had, or certainly the last 3 or 4 of them, you've won both of those markets, the early second half markets.
Yeah.
So I'm even happy to take one of them here.
Yeah, if you lose the 2 of those, you're in big trouble, really, like on a normal kind of week.
I'd be happy enough with 1-1, except the corners is starting to look against me a little. Given
the
I need
first half
6.
was slow for corners too, and then it just exploded into life. So
Did get going, but I need there to be more corners in this afternoon. Like I need 6 where there was only 5 at half time. I need 6 more.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I would say that one in Gary's favour odds wise at the moment.
There's only 2 people left in the 5 score.
Kind of lucky one as well, where it was there was 2 quite very quickly together, like.
Yeah, there's only 2 of you left in the 5 scorers, Gary. Salah estimated the field there.
Nice one. Is the one like? Are we both on one, or what's the?
You've Cavani, Aubameyang, Maja, and Antonio, and this other guy has Susek, Bruno Fernandes, and Lingard. I think he got Patrick Bamford and Callum Wilson were his 2, so he's kind of gone
Callum Wilson,
yeah. I don't see a scenario where Cavani and Bruno Fernandes both play tomorrow. One of them has to be protected. So
yeah, I'm actually thinking that. But I think probably Bruno. Well, no, Cavani's probably most likely, given that his age, like. But then, if I was Ollie and again, this wasn't in my thinking, but if I was Ollie, I think I'd leave a player that's scoring. Like Cavani is kind of a streaky player. I'd leave him playing. So he must have scored in his last 5 games, has he? He definitely scored in the 2 games against Roma, and I'm fairly sure he scored in his last 2 Premier League games, maybe 3 Premier League games. So, Joe, you don't want to just rest him and then he lose a bit of confidence or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
How minute are you at in the Liverpool game, Gary?
Did you see the shot there, by the way? Houston had a shot.
Was that given as a shot?
What?
Was that given as a shot?
Yeah.
Didn't look like a shot. Oh, goal!
Boom.
Oh, for Liverpool.
Oh, lovely.
Thiago. Lovely finish. You must have seen that first, lads, did you?
I saw
What minute are you at?
Well, I thought it was a reasonable question since it was going into injury time to ask you how many minutes were left. And but I was.
Well, the fact you didn't celebrate then afterwards was kind of obvious, like so. We're keeping still. The great.
Oh
great
yeah,
goal.
did they score? Yeah. Okay, man.
No, that was a great goal. Now, about 20 yards out, just curled into the bottom corner. Used the defender as well as kind of a shield from the keeper.
Right.
Keeper didn't really have any chance.
My next 10 bets to 10,000 is off the ground anyway.
Up and running,
yeah.
Cash out is plummeting here with the lack of corners, so we're down below 80 quid. You could do it with a couple soon enough.
Yeah. Now that the shots are kind of coming again,
Oh, that could be one. Yeah, that's one now.
It's got to be one.
Oh, we have a goal kick. That looks like a corner all day long.
He's giving a goal kick.
Yeah, that's outrageous.
Just saw the player running as well. No, they didn't.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have a snoop around, see is there anything else, because I know now pretty much all of our focus is on this MLS game, right? With everything else kind of wrapping up. I'm gonna see if there's anything else worth the in-play bet on.
I kind of had a look, and it's all down to South America, so I don't know anything really about South American football. So I'm gonna use the corners here as my entertainment for.
That doesn't stop you betting on European football either, Gary.
I was going to say it doesn't stop me betting on South American football either.
Yeah, and women's football and Asian football and virtual football. Anything at even money, go on.
You know what?
Anything to be better there. A penalty, a goal, a corner, but just that lame flip up into the keeper's hands.
What I don't like about these corners is like Houston haven't had any. So again, the likelihood when you see like Dallas attacking, I'm like, oh, the likelihood of them getting all of my corners, kind of feel like we need to get a few Houston on the board.
Yeah.
Although it's fairly open, this game still. Could be anybody's. I'd say Dallas are absolutely sick that the halftime whistle came, because if that half had gone on 5 or 10 minutes longer, I think they would have scored 3 or 4 goals. Like Houston seemed to be out on their feet for some reason.
I basically need all the action here, right? I need goals and corners now for the rest of the game.
Yeah. Dallas again, though, they look to be playing themselves into this half. Like I think they're improving here for my liking of it.
Yeah. So if there's 3 goals somehow, I win. If there's 1 goal and 6 corners, I win. I think that's pretty much it, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You need 2 of those things. You need 1 goal, 3 goals, and 6 corners. So
this is going to cost us this is going to cost us on the corners that I'm playing the right footer on the left hand side. Because
Yeah.
every attack they get down that left hand side, they have to cut back in.
Yeah.
You lose with the ball.
That's 3 passes in a row now from Dallas, if you include that one that ended up in the keeper's hands, that have gone absolutely nowhere near where they were intended to go.
Yeah.
That one, the one that went straight out for a throw, and then the one just through the middle here.
I think we've talked about that weeks previously about the MLS, is that like they play some decent football, but the thing that kind of separates them from the higher echelon leagues like the Premiership and Bundesliga and thing is the lack of composure from players when they get kind of in the final third, like, that way. They seem to rush their pass a bit.
Yeah, it's true. A lot of the goals come from like individual moments, and not to belittle those goals. Like, they're spectacular to watch, and every weekend we've seen a handful of. That's a dirty tackle.
Oh no, it's like an NFL tackle.
Yeah.
Nice deflection off the wall out of the corner here is what we want.
Yeah.
But Fafa for Houston seems like a good player. Like, he's been their really bright spark today. Obviously scored a penalty too, so.
Yeah. But so few of the goals seem to come from, kind of building up pressure and then, making that pressure count after 5-10 minutes. Like, if they don't score quickly, like you said, that the passes can get a bit erratic and the shots start to become a little bit, I don't want to say pot shots, but, they start to become shoot even when you don't necessarily have when it's not necessarily the best option. So then either you get these absolute worldies or you get these passes to nowhere. So it's a little bit kind of the Alexis Sanchez style of playing football, where just absolute 100% every second, and it's all or nothing kind of outcome. Still up, half an hour left, so plenty of time.
It's a great opportunity. I could say it, but keeper, corner, lovely.
Love exactly that kind of defended, just absolutely hoofed it over the line. No mess.
Well, you couldn't take a risk there, especially because he started. There was a player over his shoulder. Like,
you could have seen none of the pitch, just not a single.
Very good save by the goalkeeper, though. Given, I know it's his side, but given that it was so low down, and the wall would be deflecting it or blocking his view, obscuring his view.
Yeah, that was a rocket of a free. Yeah, happy with that. Go out again. No.
Yeah, I was just hoping the same. Just bounce out.
Counter-attack for Dallas, no? Oh, it's cut out. Jesus, this game is so open now again.
This could be a corner. Free, is it?
Free,
free. This has corner written all over it as well because of where it is. Could easily get to head it out.
Yeah. So we're back up to 94 quid as being the cash out. And for anybody watching in, essentially what we're hoping for here is 3 more corners in the Dallas Houston game.
We have that bet up on screen now for you, Gary.
Do we? Okay, so we've had 3 games gone. They're all banked. So this is the last one going. And essentially we're looking at a corner every 10 minutes from here on in. We don't want wasteful
freeze like that.
Happen like that, yeah. God. But we're on course for a good interest for the last few minutes anyway.
Yeah, we probably need a little flurry at some stage of a couple of corners together. But even one of those, I imagine, would be enough to see that through.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be good to get up to, John, that 141 mark. Give us something to play with next week and try and build this cash up.
Yeah, big time.
It's just an injury now, so it's kind of a strange injury. It looks like a head injury, but I didn't really see what happened. It was after that innocuous free kick. But yeah, I think the players are taking an opportunity to get a water break now. So
yeah, it seems all right anyway. What went down?
Yeah.
Have you any more horse races happening over the next half hour or while we're on air?
There are. I haven't looked at that, which is probably a good thing, says you.
You don't have any picks yourself, because you've a fancy later on tonight after we're done, right?
Yeah. So but he's not that big of a price. So the fancy for later on is Sovereign, but he's going to be the favourite in the Man of War Stakes at Belmont Park. I think that's at 10:40. Yeah, it's 10:44. So there is a race that'll just be kicking off now, the Peter Pan Stakes, but it's only a 5-runner race. If you force me to have a bet in it, I'd probably go for Overtook, who's about 9-2, but I wouldn't really fancy it, if you know what I mean. I haven't done really too much analysis into the race. But yeah, Overtook would be the one I'd go for. Again, it's not. I'm not going to be having a bet on it, so do with that information as you please. But I do fancy Sovereign later on. I said if you're looking for a 5-2 shot, he'd be the one I go for.
Yeah, I'm seeing Sovereign at 4. So yeah.
What price that? Sorry.
Well, he's at 9-4 on Betfair, on the sports book. So I don't know, is he come in, or is it just it's only a small variation, 9-4 versus 5-2.
Do
you have something in this race, Gary, at Belmont Park?
No. As I said, I probably would have backed number 1 Overtook, but I didn't really look through the race in any great detail. So yeah, no, I haven't backed anything.
Okay.
Have you?
No, I actually missed the off. I probably wouldn't have backed anything there. Again, same reason I didn't have any real information, so didn't spend any time looking at it. They're just watching it.
It looks like the favourite's going to win it anyway. So
yeah.
Promise Keeper on it.
Yeah, Promise Keeper. Yeah, the favourite. I think Overtook was 3rd, but yeah, I said I didn't really have a look through that race properly. I was focusing more on the next race. So
Houston had Dallas had a nice bit of pressure there on the Houston keeper, and I thought he was going to maybe make a mistake, but he ended up just kicking it out for a throw. They've cleared it now, cleared their lines, but building a bit of pressure here, so hopefully it leads to at least corners.
yeah, we could do one probably before the 75th minute anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Slat, have you picked out anything in play while I was away? Did you mention any of your next
didn't know
adventure?
there isn't a whole lot on. There's nothing. Obviously, yeah, it's just the kind of South American football, so you're just kind of looking at the in-play stats and seeing if anything looks, backable. There was one Brazilian game I was looking at, and there'd been plenty of chances, and I don't even know, to be fair, if I would have gone with it, but a goal went in as I was kind of eyeing it up, so
right.
I kind of got it too late anyway. But no, there's not a whole lot going on really.
No, it's a bit quiet. All the action earlier in the day and in the evening, and now it's gone very quiet.
Yeah, it was a great day for a bit of betting, but it's dried up a bit now. So yeah, it's all on this Dallas Dynamo game.
Do you have any fancies for tomorrow, lads? While the game is plugging along there, anything jumping out at you? Tomorrow's football or any other sport even? Or
So
the late night MLS?
I thought Mikel Antonio 2 shots on target at 7-5 was a great price. So that'll probably be my bet tomorrow.
Yeah, that's a good odds.
What price is he, Gary? Sorry,
7-5 for 2 shots on target.
Yeah, seems decent. Yeah, definitely think that's going to be an open game. What about your boys, Arsenal? Do you fancy anything from that game? Bounce back from European midweek.
They should do, but they've been, I don't know. I went with Aubameyang in the end in the 5 scores, but in reality, they've just been so hard to predict lately. I'm not sure if you watched the match against Villarreal during the week, but again, just moments of, they play very well, they'll create a chance, and then just really just lacking that cutting edge up front with, Aubameyang and Lacazette and the rest of them struggling with injuries and form. And then they'll go through phases of 20 minutes where they look like they're playing some sort of strange possession-based training drill. where the goal is to not score goals. So it's just very tough to know. All the noises coming out of the club are like, right, that cycle that the club has been in is now over. So I think there's going to be a huge churn of players in the summer. Get rid of anyone who's not up to scratch, bring a lot of them in. I wouldn't be surprised to see a bit of rotation, actually. Because a lot of those players are going to be playing for their, say their future at the club. Not to sound dramatic, but in reality, there'll be a lot of them, I think, gone in the summer. So I don't know. I wouldn't be betting on it, to be honest. If I had to, I think they're decent price for the win. I think Aubameyang is again in around the evens for his shots. He comfortably got them last on Thursday, even though he didn't play the whole game. So yeah, he's probably worth it, but there's probably better bets to be had at the weekend as well, to be honest.
Well, I was going to ask you about the midweek game. Was like a game like that finishing 0-0, like a second leg when they go into it 2-1 down. Like at any point did it go for broke? I would have thought it was the sort of match that if it was 0-0 at 70 minutes, Arsenal were either going to score or concede because they had to go for a goal.
They did go for broke, or as close to it as that team was capable of playing, but Villarreal just had no interest in
Really?
Trying to score.
They just soaked it up and didn't go on the counter at all.
Yeah, it's one of those. I think United will absolutely run them ragged in the final. Like Arsenal hit the post 3 times over the 2 legs. They had, the ball going in like a soft offside against them, or a very, very marginal offside. A couple of really good chances missed, and I mean they're going to finish the season probably 10th in the Premier League. So it's not that they're, world class and were unlucky, but they could have easily, that was 2-1 over the 5 legs. It could have been 3-5. So yeah, I think United will destroy them in the final if they play like they're, if they play anything remotely near their upper level. Villarreal are just a team that set out to frustrate. Away from home, I think most of the results are 0-0, 1-0, 1-1, 2-1 type of thing. So,
I'll be sorry to quick cross you, but just quickly, we've had a corner there in Dallas Houston.
So that's 7 now.
And stroke a look that your man was about 2 yards offside. I'd say if you had scored a goal from it, it would have been disallowed by VAR. But the fact they got a corner, it's good for us. And then I kind of slightly disagree with you. I know what you're saying about Arsenal being kind of unpredictable and you wouldn't want to hang your hat on them. I agree with that aspect. But I think tomorrow is just going to play directly into their hands. Like, West Brom can't come and sit and frustrate. They need a win. So I actually have wrote in the Sports Rundown article for kind of part 2 of our rundown. Not to spoil it for anybody who's going to go on and read it, but I wrote there that I think it's a perfect game for Arsenal. I think they'll pick West Brom off on the counter attack, and I've recommended Arsenal on over 1.5 goals. I think they're a good bet at that. I think it's 4-6 they are for winning over 1.5. I said I think it's a good bet.
Oh, I think it is a good bet, and I think they'll probably win it well. I just think that when a team is not getting the chances, they're not scoring the chances they've been getting, things like that. I just wouldn't. There's red flags there the way their season has gone. I mean, like I said, if you made me pick a bet, that's going to be it. I fully agree with your prediction for the game. Just think that there's been quite a few times in the season where they're the good bet, and then it doesn't pan out like that. So
yeah, especially when it's your team and you've been bullish on them a couple of times during the season and they've let you down. You're kind of reluctant to be bullish again.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, very much. I'm just looking at the SerieA table here. I'm looking at the fixtures for tomorrow, and there's some great games. The Lazio, that's actually European football for them now. Don't want to say as good as gone, but that was a very winnable game for them. It would have kept them 2 points behind AC Milan. 69 points Milan. Now Lazio are 64, but Milan will play tomorrow. So it's very disappointing to see it because they had everything. Fiorentina have nothing to play for. They had everything to play for. It was just a strange sort of result. So especially after that, but you know what I mean, when you such a strong feeling on how that game will pan out and it doesn't go your way, I'll be inclined to skip the one tomorrow. I do agree with your analysis of that game though tomorrow, Gary.
Yeah. And so we're actually struggling in this Dallas game now because it doesn't look like that corner has been given.
No, I was going to say the same thing.
Hasn't been given on the stats, so they must have pulled it back for offside. I'm not listening to commentary here. This is when, strange. So we're kind of struggling. We've got just over 15 minutes left, and we need 3 corners.
It's still possible though. Like the 3 corners is such an achievable amount. You know.
The cash out actually just plummeted down. Like we're just over 50 quid, so we could basically take our stake back now, which is, considering it was up near 100 quid there a minute ago or a couple of minutes ago. I hadn't got the screen up because I was watching the game, but at this point I'd banked that as a corner in my head.
Mm-hmm. Just while they're still on the water break there, are they?
Yeah, they're just coming back from it now.
Coming back. Well, we can actually dive into the weekend bets maybe in a few minutes when this game is, if it drops into a lull. Are you tempted to take the stake back, Ari? I'd be inclined to let it ride 15 minutes.
Yeah. I think for the excitement factor, we let it ride. Yeah. I'm just sick about that going against us now. I thought it was going for us, and that would give you a bit of a boost, like, you know. Now, Houston are camped down now in the Dallas half. There's actually a good chance for. He just didn't swing it. I don't know what that is. Looks like going to throw in again. I thought the ball went out for either a corner or a goal kick, and he managed to give a throw in. So I'm not too sure how that happens, but we need one soon anyway. So fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But outside of that, that's really my bet for the week. I think if you asked me to, put my life on a bet tomorrow, I'd be between Arsenal and over 1.5, and Antonio to score or to get 2 shots on target. I think the 2 of those are really, really good bets.
Yeah,
like a nice Sunday double.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah.
That Antonio one is like, if you were doing your 10 to 10K slats, you're kind of, I know it's not evens, but it's a good bit more than evens, but it feels like such a solid one to be coming up to at the end of your, if Lazio/LB hadn't let you down with bet 5 or bet 4, and you're getting on to like sort of bet 7 or 8 for that one tomorrow, you'd be very happy. And to be honest, for a roller type thing, Gary, the Arsenal one is the same. I was actually in the context of shots that I was really talking as well, because my thing is I don't know which team you're going to see tomorrow. But yeah, like I presume, was it 10 to 11? Is that what you said for Arsenal and over 1.5?
No, I'd say 4 to 6 is what I saw earlier, but
4
that
to
was on
6.
Bet55. I haven't shopped around. There might be some better value out there.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I don't know. I kind of thought you said 10 to 11. 4 to 6 is still good for that. There's a race here from Golden Gate Fields, Gary, and they're running on some sort of black surface. I've never seen it before.
Yeah, that's just the dirt. It's it's kind of common in America. There's different versions of all weather, basically.
Oh, okay. Strange. I thought my telly was gone bonkers there for a second.
Not looking like there's any way for me to win this head-to-head anyway. I think we can give Gary the win there anyway.
Yeah, well, which half is going to have more goals? That's certainly gone.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, good save by the keeper. Jeez, you have to be scoring that if you're Dallas,
Yeah, big time.
Whatever about us scraping in a few more corners for the ACA, getting 5 more corners in the last 12 or 30 minutes. It's pretty unlikely to.
Yeah, the corners have just dried up, significantly. So I'm actually fairly worried about our bet. It's going so well, and that kind of
those other games.
That one not given actually has been a disaster for us.
What was that, LB? Sorry.
That corner that was given and then taken away, that was like a big one because as we know, corners can lead to corners, and it would have been a nice.
Exactly. Yeah.
Even up to 7 makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Right. Hopefully they start pushing. You got to think that even home team and all that, like Dallas are going to have to start really pushing this year.
Yeah, that's the hope, is that the the game isn't dead and buried either way. Like both teams have a chance. But again, it's the Houston team set up with the the opposite foot on the opposite wing. Just I don't like that for corners bets because normally you're getting to the byline, you're crossing in, and it's kind of a last ditch tackle to stop the cross from the defender. That's what leads to the majority of corners, I would say. But every time they've got it down this left hand side, they've cut back in on the right foot and played an in swinger, which is easier for defenders to kind of clear away up the pitch rather than giving away the corner kick.
Yeah, especially if it's blocked early. Like if it's blocked close to where your man strikes the ball, it invariably just goes straight out into the middle of the pitch and not
exactly
in for a corner. Houston still looks sharp though. Like this little passage play here.
It could be good, yeah. But on my left foot. Yeah. It's good defending, but I thought he was.
Yeah, I didn't want to see it.
Corner, yeah.
But you know what, that was poor out of Houston really, because there was no pressure in that box. It was the two defenders, maybe three defenders, and the keeper had that comfortably covered.
Yeah, exactly.
The winger gets to the byline and then looks up. There's no one in the box. Delivers a nice cross, and nobody even runs for it. So disappointing to see that. That was some theatrical fall.
I know, yeah. That's what you call buying yourself a free kick.
Yeah.
Dallas happy enough to play it around the back here now. You think they would be, Josh, you said a home team. You think they'd be
kind of going to draw in a game like this?
Yeah.
But this is 2 points dropped for Dallas, really. At home, favourites.
It's mad how desperate you get. It was like the keeper shanking it there.
But Houston are playing quite a kind of a high defensive line. They're pushing out all the time, and Dallas aren't even trying to get around them or get behind them. They're just still playing through the middle, real, kind of mundane approach to it. Surprised they're not trying to get them on the back foot at all here. There's a nice bit of pressure though. Free, gotta be.
Yeah, so this could be a chance now from the free.
Yeah, free corner. That's what we want.
Yeah.
That's a harsh yellow, no?
He had another foul there, but 4 or 5 minutes beforehand. So yeah, I think it's the totting up process.
Yeah, an accumulation, which is absolutely nowhere in the rules of football, but it's universally given.
Oh, no,
Is there anything in the rules for it, no?
Sorry, say that again, one of you? I didn't hear.
I was just saying there's nothing in the rules about an accumulation of fouls.
No, not at all. But it's so standard, and it makes sense as well because
Yeah.
But then you see teams that are really good at it. And I was actually watching it feels like a long time ago now, but the City PSG second leg, and even the commentators were praising City because they kept rotating the fouler, and I think there was 4 frees in a row on Neymar, but from 4 different players, and the guys were saying, that's really clever because none of them are going to get a yellow for it. And you're like, well, it's really the grey areas of the rules there, but
yeah, I think Fernandinho got away with it as well. He had more than a few fouls in that game.
Yeah. Big time. I actually thought the refereeing was very questionable across those the 2 legs of the 2 semi-finals. Some strange calls in them, but so it goes.
Yeah, I think I'm going to write off this bet now. I think it's gone, lads.
7 minutes. Yeah. What's your cadence now? Every 2.5. The only hope is that one leads to another one. That's all we can hope for.
Yeah,
and a bit of injury time on top of that too.
I know, but it doesn't look likely. Even one corner at the minute is looking unlikely. So
yeah,
annoying because it looked so good for so long. The tempo of the game has even dropped.
Big time.
It might be the heat in job. It's hot in Texas, so it might just be because at the end of the game the teams are drained. But you think with the water breaks and things like that, they be able to stay hydrated and last out the full 90 minutes.
I wonder, is there anything to that? In particularly hot climates, do games tend to have quieter finishes than other countries or other climates?
Yeah, I
I would
suppose.
expect that the local players are acclimatized anyway, so it shouldn't make any difference. Maybe if World Cup in Qatar or something, like there's going to be a lot of teams not used to the heat, and
yeah,
I mean I know they've all sorts of what's it called, air conditioning and that going on, but that sort of thing. Players, you often actually with the Lions going down to South Africa, it's the altitude that affects them down there.
Yeah.
And it's about kind of trying to acclimatise to that, before those test games start. So I'd say it's that sort of thing. If you're playing in a climate that you're not familiar with, you would definitely expect an impact. But if it's just a domestic league, I wouldn't expect any difference. Really.
Yeah, that's true. But maybe even teams from northern USA going down to Texas in the summer and stuff like that.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, there is quite the climate change across the
US.
north to south there. In fairness,
Houston seemed. Oh, never mind. Hold on. Is it good? No, I was going to say Houston seemed to be settling for their lot now at this stage. They're not taking any risks here.
There's
Hope they
decent
pay
attack
for it
here.
though.
Yeah, decent attack here for
Stand.
Dallas, our position that they're in.
That
We
wide
really
right.
need a corner here. If our bet is to come off, we need a corner. Oh, good defending.
Awful clearance though.
Yeah.
Oh, more good defending. Free kick, free out.
Free out. I think,
gone.
yeah, both teams, to me, I don't know whether it's just because it's still the start of the season or what the issue would be, but they seem to have run out of steam in my book. Even there,
so.
The last free kick Houston player was down with cramp. There, the Dallas striker, took like a good minute to get up off the ground.
Even that Houston kind of, I wouldn't call it a counterattack, but that break, like the players came out of their own half and then just basically stopped and looked around for where could they offload the ball. There was no way they were going to be running with that ball. So, yeah, with COVID as well, and they didn't have a proper season last season, so fitness levels are probably down on where they normally are. And then, I think maybe just the general level of fitness might be slightly lower than they're used to, and they just run out of steam 75 minutes on. We'll know in a few weeks anyway. There's going to be the early season break in the MLS in, what is that, 2-3 weeks time. I think after that, I think things will start to really take shape. Then you'll see which teams are, gelling and which teams just don't click and stuff like that. And then fitness as well, of course. So, is this a chance here? Right.
No.
Under for a throw. No.
no.
But Gary, you're officially going to be another win for you in the head-to-head. Yeah, at least no longer unbeaten, but comfortably in the lead. Lazio starting to lag a little bit, if I'm allowed to say that. Now that I've picked up my first win.
Does that mean it's me versus you next week, LB? Or is it you, Gary?
No, it'll be me versus you, because me and Gary were last week.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Need to do some homework. And
We'll have to keep the market secret then till right before we go on air, so you're have you on the back.
Throw out all these obscure ones.
Yeah, totally new markets.
Yeah, over or under 75 throws. Oh, geez.
Yeah.
6 corners. This is actually going to be really disappointing, Gary, because even if they pick up one now and it's 7, you're going to have been so close. I like the principle of that bet. I mean, the way you described it is kind of the way it panned out. No one really expected this absolute kind of a snore fest second half in this.
Yeah, the second half has been terrible in this game.
Yeah.
Never really got going. So disappointing. We can take £4.78 if you want, and we're not fully lost.
It actually feels like a bit of value there. I just don't see those corners coming in. I mean, it nearly seems worthwhile, but I just let it run. what sort of? I mean, I can see there being a huge amount of injury time here, right? Like, there's been
Yeah,
very
like, there hasn't really been that many stops. That's what I'm worried about. I'd say probably 2 minutes is what I'd give if it was a ref.
maybe 3. Like, yeah,
Again, the only hope is that they get, like, Dallas run the attack here, Dallas get a corner, and then it just goes corner, like,
Yeah.
But I'd say that happens.
Houston are defended very well, though, in fairness.
They are.
Um,
there's a game here, Dominican Republic, and it's like 35 minutes in. There was like 3 red cards, 1 to the home, to the away team. I don't, it's hard to say when you don't know what positions, but it'll be like we often talk about. Or red card, always seems to have a negative impact on the game. Even if it was a favourite, they never seem to like wipe the floor with the 10-man team. It just changes the dynamic of the game so much that the favourites seem to be happy with a 1-0 or 2-0 win, and the team with 10, kind of accept the defeat and try, kill the game. So I wonder what 3 red cards in the opening half hour does to a game.
Has to open it up though, because
the team,
so much
away
space.
team with 2 red cards are up 1-0. So you would think it's gone. It's 40 minutes now, 41 minutes. But you would think like that could be a crazy second half. And 2 more goals is 13-8. I don't know. I'm not, I haven't seen some situation like this, but it just seems like a 9-man team with a 1-0 lead. Surely the home side are going to push for a few goals there.
Yeah, when you're back to 9 men, how do you even defend? Like, it just changes everything when you're down.
What's the like,
lads? So there's just been a corner.
Oh, lovely.
It's a throw in, is it?
Oh God! No, I was sure. No, he's claiming it's a throw in, but
yeah.
Oh, he's picked it up. God damn it!
God.
That's inches.
I know, and the ref had 5 minutes on as well.
Yeah, we got it there, corner.
No, that's a goal kick.
Oh,
for God's sake!
Between that, the one that was ruled back for offside, and then the 2 with them here, like, that is really sickening.
How can the ref even see that? Like, that's sickening. I thought that corner, because with the 5 minutes, it would have given us a good chance. Like, we're really clutching at straws now.
Oh yeah, I think it's done.
Yeah, like if it was a cup final or something where they bring it into the corner, that way, like, but
yeah,
it's a bit early to be doing that after 4 games of a league season or how many amount of weeks we are in. Your home fans haven't seen a match in
15 months properly, and then they turn up and you're just playing the corner flag. You'd be very unhappy. Are either of you going to have a bet on the Orlando New York City game that comes up after this? Kicks off fairly soon.
I think it's got goals written all over it.
What?
I think it's got so much goals potential. New York City, we talked about them in a couple of the last few weeks. Like, they seem to be gelling a bit, and kind of very goalie kind of potential in them. They're oddly enough, they're 11-5 away to Orlando. I think they've got a good shout. Orlando do look to be adapting to life now. I know they got that injury to Kaka at the start, but I think they seem to be not adapting to life without him.
Pato, not Kaka.
Pato, yeah, sorry.
I'm just going to have to drop here, lads. But
yeah, well, look, we already have the show wrapped up before you're back, lad. So
I was thinking that. Yeah, so I'll see you back next week anyway, and have a few articles on the site during the week. Well done, Gary. I'm not just leaving early. True. Resentment.
Furniture getting smashed in the background now for the remainder of the show.
Go on anyway. Good luck, guys. I'll let you wrap up the show.
Yeah, see it. They seem to be getting used to, not that they had much time with Pato, but they seem to be getting used to it again without him. I think it's what is it now for both teams to score on over 2.5 is 20-21. I think it's a nice easy one there.
Yeah, no. There's a head injury here, but there was a corner off it. So, like, at least I think it is a corner, but it's probably too late now. So we're into the last minute, and we need 2 more after this.
Yeah.
So it's just how much the ref adds on for this head injury. But like the ball was just kicked at his face. It didn't seem that.
No, I'd say it's just a bit of a shock is all it could be.
Yeah, I hit him on like the forehead as well. It wasn't as if I hit him in the temple or anything like.
Yeah.
I hope the Dallas players are telling the ref that he needs to add on this time. Like,
Yeah, we want it all back.
that was me now. I'll be on in the stadium. Like, make sure to add on this time.
Yeah, roaring it down. You know what? The worst thing for us is probably going to be a goal from this header now, from this corner.
Yeah, no, we want it crossed in straight out for a corner and then
Same
that
again.
happen again. Yeah, it's a long shot, but I'd say the ref will probably blow it up. They're not really. I think the ref is indicating that he's going to do like a hot ball instead of give the corner.
You can't do that. Like, there was no foul. There was no, like, the ball was out of place.
Yeah, no, he didn't give the corner.
So that's 2 corners that should have happened that didn't happen, and then 2 really close passages of play to, like, you know, throw-ins just feet from the corner.
That's bizarre. Like, it should have been a Dallas corner, and the ref gave the ball back to Houston through the like uncontested drop ball.
Yeah.
Like that in the 93rd minute. Like that seems just.
But why did Dallas accept that?
I know they don't seem that like outraged by it. And there's another corner.
Oh. This is the absolute cruelest of ends.
The only thing is how long is the ref going to add on? Like, I mean, he should be adding a good 2.5 minutes on because there was a substitution just before that, and then there was the head injury. But we're into a minute of that already, so
I just can't see it now at this stage.
No, neither can I. And it's probably actually going to be crueler if this does go out for a corner.
Yeah.
Because we'd be 1 away, you know.
1 away with 2 ruled out. And no, didn't happen.
He's blowing it up there.
Right. Well, look, thanks for tuning in. We've interesting show tonight. Plenty of action early on, and then that game got a bit quiet later on. But a few close calls as well with this one and the SerieA. But usual entertainment and a bit of fun. Hopefully, if you enjoyed the show, you'll be around again next week. And like and subscribe and stay in touch, and make sure to keep an eye on the SportsRunDown.com for all our bets throughout the week. We've got European football, racing, MLS, a broad coverage of sports. So yeah, hop over to SportsRunDown.com and we'll see you back here for the stream next weekend. Thanks for tuning in.